like last one at the end of a black hole. Cold lost beneath the ground. All done by my own hand. I allow my feelings to become sand. If you're gonna cut me down, better do it quickly now. Now you can cut me down, but I won't stay for long. I'll grow back again. Oh yeah, my roots are strong.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Supergirl Gamer Pro Hearthstone Edition. It is week number 9, and we are still your co-hosts, Nekra and Dragon Rider. Dragon Rider, it's been an incredible journey, and I say week number 9 with a little bit of like bittersweetness because while it's been an incredible 9 weeks, it's also been 9 long weeks of Hearthstone. I can't believe we're here already.
Yeah, I can't believe it's been 9 weeks. I mean, as I was kind of sending out the tweet about tonight, it's like, I can't believe we've made it to 9 weeks now. Like, it feels like we had week 1, 2, 3, and then all of a sudden it's week 9. Like, what happened? But it's been an incredible 9 weeks so far. It really has. And we've gotten to see a lot of really cool gameplay and a lot of different players every week. And to kind of see this come to an end and then get to find out, who will be heading into our top 8 championship for the beginning of October is really exciting.
Yeah, I mean, we've had almost 30 different competitors over the course of the 9 weeks participate in the Supergirl Gamer Pro Hearthstone brackets each different week. And these standalone brackets were really interesting because they kind of went over the course of multiple different iterations to the Hearthstone meta. When we were first starting out, we were just at the tail end of an expansion. We had a couple of nerfs get hit, and then Scholomance Academy appeared in our midst. So we had a lot of different changes and tribulations that we had to get through in order to even get to week number 9. But Dawn, we were talking even a little bit before the broadcast about what we expected to see tonight. And there's a little bit of a different element in play. We have $250 for first place. What do you think that brings to the table?
I think it's just going to bring that little bit of fire that I think some of these players, they've kind of, maybe the last few weeks, they have accumulated a lot of points already. So the last few weeks, they may not have had to try quite as hard, or they could take more risks in what decks they're bringing, just to try some different things out. But this week, it's top 8, is in contention, and then that $250 up for grabs. So I think it's just going to be straight, just competitive tonight. I think just whatever they think is the best, that they have the best chance of winning with, that's what we're going to see.
Well, we are hoping that we're going to see a lot of creativity as well as a part of these lineups. But before we get into that, we have a new sponsor that we'd like to introduce to the Supergirl Gamer Pro family. Shares the mission and vision of the Supergirl Gamer Pro in that they are dedicated to supporting women in gaming, and that's the Gamehers. So Gamehers is really incredible because it's for all women, all marginalized people and genders, and also non-binary humans. And their space is so diverse and includes people from all different types of backgrounds with diverse experiences as well as skills and expertise. And I think that makes for a really wonderful environment when you have all of those types of people together. So thank you so much to Gamehers for being a part of the Supergirl Gamer Pro experience. And we're going to hear a little bit more from all of our sponsors that are making Supergirl Gamer Pro possible before we get into our bracket tonight.
So I'm going to hold on promoting you this quarter. Cool?
Drop the taco. Get in the car. Does this Sentra feel like a compromise to you?
Wait, what?
The handling, it's good, right? No compromise there.
Nope.
Watch this.
Breathe.
Rear automatic braking.
So if this Nissan Sentra isn't going to compromise, why should you? You're right.
Atta girl.
The all-new Nissan Sentra with more standard safety features than any other car in its class.
It's not just the ships, the armor, or the aircraft. It's something more. It's the will to fight and determination to win, found inside each and every Marine that answers a nation's call. Battles won.
You can trade all the games, accessories, consoles, and tech you don't use anymore to get cash or store credit at GameStop. Check out the Trade Center on the GameStop app, visit GameStop.com/trade, or talk to a guest advisor at your local GameStop store to see how much your trades are worth.
Welcome back, everybody, and thank you so much for listening to our sponsors. We got one more for you, Zenny Gaming. Zenny has been a phenomenal sponsor for the Supergirl Gamer Pro series. I'm actually wearing some of their specs right now, and I want to tell you a little bit more about them. Zenny's specs are really, really cool, particularly their Blocks glasses, which are the ones I'm wearing. They block out all of the harmful blue light that comes through from your computer screen. So if you're gaming all day, or if you're participating in the Supergirl Gamer Pro series, then get yourself a pair of these specs and protect your eyes. They come in a variety of different styles and shapes, and as Don loves to say, they have this really neat feature on their website to just try things on, right?
Yeah, it's a really cool feature, especially right now when things in the world make it a little bit more difficult to go out, and you can do all of it from home and then find exactly what you want. Like you mentioned, I mean, you can do so many different varieties, and it's a really cool feature. I've worn glasses for a long time, and I've never seen something quite like that. So from someone who has worn glasses for a long time, check it out. It's worth it.
All right. You've heard it here first from two glasses wearers. You've got to check out Zenny Gaming. But let's get into the action for this evening. We're going to be showcasing 4 different matches from our top 16 bracket, starting with round of 16. We'll go into round of 8, round of 4, and then we will do our grand finals where one person, our top player for this week, will walk away with $250. But there's something else that's on the line tonight, and we hinted at that at the top of the broadcast, and that's the Grand Championships. Our top 8 players and our top 8 point earners over the course of the 9 weeks will qualify for a spot in our online Grand Championships October 2nd. So there's still a lot on the line today, especially when you take a look at the seeding for that top 8. So I'm really excited about getting into tonight's action.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, well, in just the swing of things, let's go ahead and talk about our first matchup, which is going to be Grumpy Kitten versus Mess Bestie. And I believe we saw Mess Bestie for the first time last week. Is that? And, Grumpy Kitten is kind of right on the edge, like you mentioned, of that top 8. So she's really looking to get a lot of points here tonight. So this week, Grumpy Kitten brought a Galakrond Priest a rogue that has some pretty interesting choices in here, but looks like it's mainly kind of focused on some secrets. And then as well, a pretty aggressive, pretty standard, I would say, face hunter list. And then Mess Bestie brought a Highlander priest, as well as a face hunter. Pretty standard list there as well. And then a demon hunter. Now, I want to talk a little bit about demon hunter really quickly. We've kind of seen a split between people bringing a tempo demon hunter and kind of the soul control type style of demon hunter. And this list is definitely the kind of tempo, and almost some inclusions that we saw even before Scholomance came out, with things like the one copy of Amani Berserker and double Bone Chewer Brawlers. So maybe kind of anti-aggro a little bit there. But I don't know, what do you think of these lists, Nekra?
I think they're really great. I think Grumpy Kitten's going in a little bit more of that kind of aggro aggression direction, where you do have like the face hunter included in the lineup, as well as a rogue, which we all know can go burr. So definitely something to look at when you have both of the priests banned out of these lists and these lineups.
Yes, I was just about to say that. So speaking of aggro, that is what we are going to see in this match. And the first game here we're getting into is Grumpy Kitten on the top there with the rogue, and Mess Bestie on the bottom with the face hunter. Both getting out to a fairly decent start. Looks like both of them landed a 1-drop, which is really good. That's definitely what aggressive decks are looking to do.
Yeah, this is a really fast start for both players. And Miss Bestie also getting the Phase Stalker, I feel like is such a huge boon in this matchup, because you can start getting out your secrets early, and especially when it's going to be buffed like that, it's much, much harder for the rogue to take it down. You have to invest so much more resources into it.
Yeah. You know, I'm gonna pull up the deck list here, because we kind of jumped into the game really quickly here, but Mess Bestie's Face Hunter is running, in terms of the secrets, 2 pressure plates and 2 freezing traps. So not running explosives at all, which I think I feel like that's actually going to be pretty helpful. The explosives might be a good choice if there's a lot of aggro, but freezing trap against other aggro decks is still really good as well, just because of the tempo loss for the opponent.
Yeah, once you put something down and then you see the freezing trap come out, not only is it taking away the cheapness of the minion that you place, but it also messes with your ability to play on curve. So I think that's something that we will have to see come into play here, as really easy clear comes in from Grumpy Kitten to be able to deal with that taunt. And now it's just easy pickings going face.
Thank you.
Yeah. But I mean, turn 4 here, the curve of the Phase Stalker, which is buffed up as well. It's a pretty beefy little Phase Stalker, and a hero power to bring out one of those secrets. We do see 1 freezing trap in hand, so that means 2 pressure plates and 1 freezing left in the deck. But Mess Bestie decides maybe it's just better to play out the weapon here and get something off of the board.
I feel like that leaves Mess Bestie incredibly vulnerable, though. Especially with the start that Grumpy Kitten has had, where you've already put Mess Bestie down at 19 health. That's not a very happy life total for the Face Hunter. And especially having to use your weapon to clear out minions rather than doing face damage doesn't necessarily feel super good. So Mess Bestie here kind of in a bit of a pinch, but hopefully with turn 5 and rolling into the middle turns of the game, should be able to make some headway.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, I do wonder. It does leave Miss Bestie a little bit vulnerable now, like you mentioned, but if Miss Bestie can kind of get on the board with a beast and use these double kill commands in hand, that's a lot of burst damage all in one turn that could come down potentially next turn or 2 turns from now. And this one drop here coming into hand as well just fills in this turn so nicely. And I wonder if Miss Bestie was really debating with that weapon not getting value from a secret, but decides to just push that damage now, and not even bother with the extra durability that it could gain from the secret triggering.
Yeah, I do have some questions about that because I feel with the freezing trap, if you were patient with the weapon play, then you would have an additional charge when the freezing trap ultimately gets popped in latter turns. But at this point, as well, as you mentioned, double kill command in hand is an incredible amount of burst damage. And if Grumpy Kitten doesn't have a way to deal with this Phase Stalker, then there's a ridiculous amount of damage that's on the board and in hand.
Yeah, absolutely. And I want to switch over here for a moment. I feel like we've really focused on what the Hunter is doing, but just take a look at this hand for Grumpy Kitten.
Give me a quest.
This hand feels slightly clunky and a little bit awkward. Playing that One Thief earlier and finding the Conjurer's Calling actually made the hand a little bit slow, just because the Rogue is looking, especially from the Mage spells, looking for some kind of cheap spells, something that can maybe clear the board, but didn't end up finding it. And we're going to see these kill commands come into play here, but it's not quite enough damage to finish, but still sets up for an incredible end next turn.
Yeah, the pressure plate being the secret that came out is super, super helpful for Miss Bestie because it was able to just clearly and quickly deal with the questing adventurer that came down. And like what Grumpy Kitten was really looking for there was a big swing turn in terms of just kind of like what you were mentioning, just reestablishing the board and also just making sure that they can deal with what's on Miss Bestie's side. Even having to use the Assassinate there is really important. But we'll see what this Animal Companion rolls.
Yeah, it could just be the end of the game here if it brings out the Hunter for 4 damage. Not gonna do it though. I do also want to mention that Assassinate that we saw is being run in the deck list itself. There are 2 copies of the Assassinate in the deck list, so that was not generated. And when I first kind of saw the list, I questioned it a little bit, thinking it was going to be kind of a bulky card, but that it seemed to have at least stalled just a little bit, just enough to kind of get something else going for Grumpy Kitten. So not as terrible as I was expecting.
Yeah, the Assassinate ended up being the perfect answer to the Phase Stalker that Miss Bestie had placed on board, especially with that 5 health and having already used a copy of Eviscerate. I think that was always going to be a very tough minion to remove for Miss Bestie's side. So I think Grumpy Kitten having the Assassinate ended up being perfect. We'll see what she decides to do for the rest of the 6 mana that she has. Honestly, has quite a few options here. I feel like setting a board is good, but I don't think that there's a whole lot stopping, except maybe the Conjurer's Calling. Let's see what it finds.
I think she really needed a taunt there. Yeah, this is just going to end up being lethal here for Miss Bestie. So, just pushing that damage early with that weapon was enough to get the job done. And I think that in combination with maybe a few of the card choices plus the kind of clunkier spells coming out from the One Thief, the Rogue just ended up being a little bit too slow to deal with all of the aggression that was coming out of the Hunter for that game.
Yeah, but now the Hunter's off the table. So it's not over just yet, as each of these series are a best of 3 total conquest. We do need to see Mesbesti now win with that Demon Hunter that we were talking about before we got into the game. And now Grumpy Kitten still has a face hunter of her own, and the rogue also still looking like a strong deck list.
Yeah. But looks like Grumpy Kitten does switch over to the face hunter. Interesting choice here, I think, to keep the Skull of Gul'dan.
Yeah. That's gonna be difficult to get out of the hand unless you are confident that you're going to be able to get rid of the other cards that are on either side of it. And in this case, it's more likely that you're gonna try to get rid of the cards that are to the left. Like your Beaming Sidekick.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think this Voracious Reader in hand too now becomes a little bit more awkward because of that skull being in hand. These kind of higher cost cards will not allow Mesbesti to just kind of dump the hand quickly and then be able to refill with the Voracious Reader. Grumpy Kitten getting out on board pretty early here.
Yeah, already forcing Mesbesti to use hero power to make a kill. Wonder what Grumpy Kitten's gonna set up for this turn though, because there's so many different options. I really love the freezing trap. I think that puts Mesbesti's tempo back super hard if that gets popped.
I am a little bit curious about the freezing trap.
I got you, friend.
I think I would have liked to just see the weapon come down there.
Hey, I got you, friend.
Or even just the other kind of 1/1 buff and hero power. Getting the weapon out, I guess either way, the secret's probably going to be triggered and buff up that weapon, right? So I guess either way it kind of works. But not going to be able to play the weapon now and get value, extended value from the added durability.
Yeah, really has to go after the Beaming Sidekick so that it's the Battle Fiend that gets the freezing trap.
Yeah.
And then loses the buffs.
Yeah, I think I'm just valuing the weapon a little bit more than these players are. There's not very many secrets being run in Face Hunter, and the opportunities that the Face Hunter deck has to be able to combine a secret and buffing the weapon don't always happen together. So I feel like just taking that chance to try to get the extra durability, which can give you 3 more damage or 6 more damage potentially over the course of a game in a deck that wants to push damage, it just feels like you're missing damage at that point to me.
Well, I feel like there's something to be said, though, for the amount of damage that Mesbesti is kind of doing to herself in this situation as well. So maybe missing out on a charge doesn't matter so much if your opponent has already done a significant amount of damage to their own face. I think it was already 8 damage from just tapping and hitting into the 2/1s.
Yeah. And part of that may also have come from what cards were chosen to stay in the hand from the very beginning. Not really being able to play anything out of significance on those first turn or two in an aggressive deck can really slow the deck down.
Absolutely. Yeah, that Voracious Reader's been sitting in hand since turn number 1. And that's a card that you really like getting out early.
Yeah, and Mesbesti has not been able to get everything from the left side of the hand out before this turn 6 now either.
And now there's 8 damage on board, plus the weapon should be lethal here, unless Mesbesti is able to clear off some of the board. But even with the Marrow Slicer being able to deal with one of the minions, this is this is still lethal.
Yep. It's a lot of damage that can come out of this Hunter deck. So Grumpy Kitten finds the win with her Hunter. But now both players have taken a win with the Hunter deck. So we will have to see a Rogue versus the Demon Hunter up next from these players. And it's match points. Because like you said, this is our best of 3 games.
Yeah, well, I feel like they've gotten their bad RNG out of the way with a couple of the draws that we saw from the Rogue as well as the Demon Hunter. So now it's all out competitive. I'm really excited to see this matchup in particular. Face Hunter is great and also been on the rise recently. So I think that one of the reasons why a lot of players have included the Face Hunter in their lineup, it's like able to get easy wins. And especially in some of those maybe more disadvantageous positions, you might still be able to cheese out a win if you get on board fast enough.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, just with that hero power dealing 2 damage as well, it just lends itself to being so aggressive. And if the players are able to squeeze in 2 damage with that hero power every turn, that's a lot of extra damage. And basically from the get-go just puts the opponent on a clock for the Hunter just having lethal.
Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of classes right now that aren't running healing. Or archetypes, excuse me. And I think that's something else that the Face Hunter ends up doing really well, is that it denies so much of that healing that you would want to have come through because of all of the chip damage from the hero power. But it's not going to be Face Hunters anymore. It is that Rogue versus Demon Hunter matchup on match point for Grumpy Kitten and Mespesti. And as a reminder to people watching, Grumpy Kitten really needs the win here. She is sitting in 9th place for our results and standings, and with a 55-point deficit between her and Valyra Light, who is currently sitting in 8th place, then a win has to come through here for Grumpy Kitten.
Job's done. Yeah, absolutely. She definitely needs to get some very good results today, and she needs Valyra Light to not do very well. But interesting, Mespesti here, that one drop not coming down on turn 1, and we see from Grumpy Kitten, the transfer student just takes care of it so easily here, but also there's a backstab sitting in hand, just kind of waiting as well to clear something. This hand for Grumpy Kitten, though, is looking pretty solid.
Yeah. Oh, especially with the shadow steps as well. I think that's something that Grumpy Kitten could really make use of with the questing adventurer that's sitting in hand. Definitely looking at that transfer student kind of coming back on board a couple more times.
Yes. Yeah, that backstab can hit. The transfer student can hit face, be shadow stepped back in hand, and then replayed to kill the Amani Berserker.
Mm-hmm.
And that is going to create a very large body, well, a couple of bodies really for Grumpy Kitten. That, I mean, how does Mespesti deal with this now? I guess she can play the Cane and clear the 2/2 transfer students.
Ooh.
That's about it.
I mean, Mespesti at this point has really favored trying to push damage face, hoping that Skull of Gul'dan will be active and able to get more cards that will be able to help her to take down Grumpy Kitten. But yeah, the Cane is kind of looking like the only option right now. You really don't want to have to float 3 mana.
Yeah. Oh.
Job's done.
Yeah, it might just be worth it there to try to just clear up some of the board and leave something on the board. Grumpy Kitten basically just going to do what she can to capitalize on nothing coming out of the Demon Hunter here.
Yeah, wow. This hand's so clunky because of the 2 Skulls of Gul'dan. I don't think that Grumpy Kitten's going to give Mespesti time to be able to use those cards.
I will still fight.
has to stack the cane into the questing adventurer. And now with the plagiarize, Grumpy Kitten gets a cane. That's I'm trying to calculate if we have. I don't think there's a lethal yet.
I mean, there's a lot of small stuff in hand that can buff up. Is there? Well, let's see. There's 11 on board.
Mm-hmm.
So
you could shadow step the transfer student after it hits to do 2 more damage. Plus the cane comes down is an additional 3.
Yeah. I mean, I think playing just a bunch of the small stuff would buff the questing enough for lethal.
I
think
do
so.
believe that Grumpy Kitten has found lethal with the transfer student shadow step and then getting the cane. That is it. Grumpy Kitten takes the first game.
Wow. Yeah, you mentioned aggressive decks. Those were very aggressive. There was a lot of hitting face very quickly, but Grumpy Kitten definitely should feel happy about that win. This is what she needs, and hopefully she can carry that momentum into the next match and continue that same kind of pressure that she applied here, because again, with those standings, that's exactly what she's looking to do.
Well, it's going to be hard because the opponent waiting for her in the wings is Revy, who is sitting at our #1 spot in the standings for Supergirl Gamer Pro Hearthstone. So I think it's going to be a really tough matchup for Grumpy Kitten, especially given how Revy has performed over the last couple of weeks. Struggled a little bit towards the beginning and the end, but has found 2 weak wins on weeks 3 and week 6 to net her a total of 450 points for that first place spot. So lots of toughness, lots of competitiveness coming through for our matches today.
Yeah, absolutely. And that was just the first match of many that we have tonight. It is not going to slow down, but we will take a short break, hear from our sponsors one more time, and then when we get back from the break, we'll take a look at our bracket and see what else we still have lined up for the rest of the night. So stick around, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
It's not just the ships, the armor, or the aircraft. It's something more. It's the will to fight and determination to win, found inside each and every Marine that answers a nation's call. Battles won.
So I'm gonna hold on promoting you this quarter. Cool?
Drop the taco. Get in the car. Does this Sentra feel like a compromise to you?
Wait, what?
The handling is good, right? No compromise there.
Nope.
Watch this.
Breathe. Rear automatic braking. So if this Nissan Sentra isn't going to compromise, why should you? You're right. Atta girl.
The all-new Nissan Sentra with more standard safety features than any other car in its class.
For a long time, we had to prove ourselves. But we always knew what we were capable of. We knew when the time came, we would be ready for anything. Our numbers keep rising. And so do we.
Thanks so much to our sponsors, and particularly GameHers for being one of the newer sponsors for the Supergirl Gamer Pro series, sharing the mission and vision of the Supergirl Gamer Pro in just supporting women in gaming. It's been really great to have yet another sponsor that is dedicated to that purpose. GameHers believe in inclusivity and understand that having your voices heard and your perspectives including, especially when it often isn't, is so important. And I really, really love that about the GameHers. But you know what else I love, Dragon Rider? I love
What's that?
Hearthstone, and I'm so excited that we get another match to show off to everybody. We are now entering our top 8, so let's take a quick look at the bracket to show everybody kind of where we're sitting right now in terms of who's gone forward and what we've got on tap. So, I mean, we already kind of mentioned the Revy versus Grumpy Kitten matchup, where Grumpy Kitten really needs a win this week or a lot of points in order to get into our top 8 players. But we've got a lot of other matches as well to look forward to.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm really excited about our next matchup, which is kind of hiding down here at the bottom of this bracket, which is going to be Edelweiss versus Trojanator. And both of these players we've seen quite a bit on stream over these last 8 weeks leading up to this. And Necker, can you just tell us, like, where are each of these players in the standings? Because this is a really cool story, I think, for both of these players.
It really is, especially when Trojanator is our winner from last year's Supergirl Gamer Pro and has had some really consistent top 8 finishes for the last 6 weeks. Edelweiss was our week 1 winner. Took home 100 points that week, and then has had some pretty consistent top 4s, top 8s. Got a second place in week number 7, but is definitely hungry for that first place. So Edelweiss is sitting in 4th with 350 points, and Trojanator is sitting in 7th with 250. And remember that seeding does matter when we're talking about the Grand Championships for our top 8 players October 2nd.
Absolutely. And so this is, like you mentioned, kind of past winner versus one of our big winners for this season. So this is really exciting. And let's just talk about the decks that they brought really quickly. Edelweiss brought a Face Hunter, not even Bomb Warrior. I think we've kind of seen like a mix from her, I feel like. But this week, she brought the Egg Warrior, like the Egg and Rage Warrior. And I feel like it's starting to kind of get popular again. A lot of people were just bringing Bomb Warrior and kind of bomb control variants, but we're starting to see this kind of come back a little bit more, although it did get banned on Edelweiss's side, so I'm a little sad. I wanted to see this one. But then she also has a Stealth Rogue, which I think this list is pretty standard. It's a pretty standard kind of, if you just look on HS Replay or, kind of the popular streamers that are playing Stealth Rogue, this is the typical list you'll see. And Trojanator brought a kind of Tempo Mage that has also become very popular, although that is the deck that has been banned on her side. And then she is also running the Bomb Warrior that we're kind of used to already, with the Risky Skippers, the Armor Smiths, the Blastmaster Boom. There is no Galakrond in this version. That's kind of been something that we've kind of seen back and forth a bit between the weeks here on Supergirl, but no Galakrond there. And then kind of, Nekra, you and I were talking about this a little bit during the break. We were looking at these lists. Rogue deck, okay. Stealth package, sounds normal. No. There's a Flick Sky Shiv. There is 2 Cult Neophytes, and you were kind of looking at that and thinking, what in the world? There's also an Edwin. Some of the lists kind of have been dropping Edwin, but I don't think Edwin's kind of out of the norm. But to me, the Cult Neophytes and the Flicks really speak to thinking that the opponent is going to bring Mage and potentially also Druid. I think those are the 2 that kind of really stick out to me. But we don't see either of those classes for Edelweiss. So I'm really interested to see kind of how those cards play out in the matchup. And it looks like we will get to see this rogue list for Trojanator in the first game.
We'll see the rogue versus the face hunter. Now this looks familiar, now doesn't it? It looks like it's almost like we saw that in our first series of the night, where in that situation, the face hunter got off to such a fast start that the rogue couldn't find any traction.
Yeah, and I think one thing too, that rogue list was more focused on the secrets, whereas the stealth versions generally are a little bit more aggressive. They kind of have more of the early game tools. So, you know, we do see Trojanator getting on board here with this turn 2 play, and now she can play out this Greyheart Sage for some extra draw. And if she really wants to, she can kind of start her own aggressive game plan with playing that Ashtongue Slayer, but chooses to just go for the draw here. And these backstabs sitting in hand, I don't know. How do you feel about these?
Well, I think it'll help to be able to clear out these Felmaws that are sitting on the board. One of them is going to pop now, but ooh, now you can't use the backstab.
Yeah, this is why I'm a little hesitant. These backstabs feel kind of awkward to me right now. They're going to come in handy after some of these minions now come into play for Edelweiss, but at the moment, I mean, especially if Edelweiss didn't really have any minions, if she were to play a weapon or a secret there instead, the backstabs just kind of sit there doing nothing. Get a little bit of value now, though.
Yeah, should be able to take out the Intrepid Initiate, so should be able to make sure that that 3-2 now becomes a 3-0, and I think that also puts Trojanator in a really good position to use this Eviscerate if she so chooses. That leaves that Felmaw to get taken out by the Greyheart Sage, but I also don't mind the just straight up trade here either.
Yeah, I think the kind of what you mentioned, maybe either going for the Eviscerate or exactly what we saw Trojanator do here with the Miscreant. Those were kind of the two lines of thinking that I had as well. And I feel like this took a little bit more of a chance, kind of waiting to see what lackeys came out and what happened with it, but at the same time also allows to save for that Eviscerate for later.
Yeah, especially if you need it for something like the Phase Stalker that's going to be finding a lot of value. That could be... I wonder if we can get a hover over of the secret that just came out. There are a few secrets being run. There's one copy of Explosive Trap, one copy of Freezing Trap in this deck. I kind of wonder which one would be more impactful. I feel as though it would be the Freezing Trap.
Yeah, and talking about the secrets, like you mentioned, one explosive, one freezing, one pack tactics is a little bit interesting. Some of the lists are kind of only running 2 secrets and not all 3. One of each just makes it a little interesting. Just adds that one more layer of Trojanator having to kind of figure out how to play around those secrets.
Pack tactics. Which doesn't proc if it's a secret, if it's a spell that takes out the minion, so.
Right, it does have to be attacked into. That might really make the Phase Stalker kind of... I'm wondering how much more awkward that makes the Phase Stalker on board.
Yeah, that is...
Maybe if Trojanator has the thought that it's the pack tactic, she can try to test for that and then flick. Because there would be 2 copies. I mean, whichever minion it is, right? There would be 2 copies on the board.
But now you have a second secret to play around.
Yeah.
Let me work my magic.
Which again is explosive trap or freezing trap. Luckily for Trojan Eater, there are 2 minions on board, so she can attack with one, and if it ends up being freezing, then she has the second minion to attack with, unless Edelweiss trades first. Yeah. Which this makes me feel like that second secret that just came into play is the freezing.
Okay. Well, Backstab's coming out first. So that's the second copy of Backstab now gone. And Flick is going to deal with the Face Stalker. So it's explosive trap that came into play.
Okay. So it's explosive, but the way Edelweiss played it, again, she played it that way to force Trojanator into thinking it's freezing trap. Because leaving just one minion on the board kind of blends that thought, right? So
yeah, it does.
The way that Edelweiss played that was very, very slick, just kind of using her deck building, using those secrets and the kind of how Trojanator has to play around them to her advantage. And now as Trojanator plays this turn, she really has to debate here if she even wants to attack. And now it's a matter of, does she attack face and potentially trigger explosive, or does she attack a minion and potentially trigger the pack tactics, or it just goes back to hand because it's freezing.
A lot of mind games that have to be played with all the secrets that are on the board. Love it. All right, rolling the dice here. It looks like all that damage is going face.
Yeah. And Trojanator's kind of in that same spot as last turn now. One minion on board. How does she want to play this if she thinks it's freezing trap? And I think at this point, you just go for it. I think you just attack anyways. Oh, she's gonna get the news that the pack tactics is there. And now if Trojanator is worried about a freezing trap, she just made the board stronger for Edelweiss. Not a lot of mana to work with.
I just don't know how else you could have played around that though.
No. Yeah, it's
Better be something good. I am needed anyway.
that could be the power of the secrets, and I think the reasoning for Edelweiss bringing one each of 3 different secrets, but with one being removed already and testing for that second one, Edelweiss, now Trojanator knows Edelweiss has the explosive, but Edelweiss has pushed so much damage. This Dragonbane has just gotten so much damage to face.
Yeah, that was super, super good for Edelweiss. Just taking a look at the deck list really quick, because we saw the kill command come out for just 3 damage. There is a second copy of the kill command. No beasts on board though to be able to make that 5. Trojanator really forced to trade here, and then trying to pop an explosive trap.
This is kind of her best bet to try to hopefully live one more turn. It's still so dangerous against Face Hunter because they have so much damage potential that can come out.
Oh, and the rush, the charge with the steady shot. That's it for game number 1, going to Edelweiss with the Face Hunter.
Yeah, so Edelweiss will now have to play a stealth rogue, and Trojanator either has the rogue that we just saw from her, or she can switch over to the warrior. This is interesting because rogue can do a little bit well actually against warrior, but because Trojanator is running kind of the risky skippers and armor smiths, there is potential to gain a lot of armor and clear some of those stealth minions off the board at the same time as well. So this is going to be a pretty close game, I think.
Yeah, I'm really interested to see what Trojanator rolls out with. We could see either the Rogue mirror or the Rogue versus the Warrior. And if it does come down to the Rogue versus the Warrior, which is what we're getting, I think that the one strong point from Edelweiss is that she's very good about playing around the Blade Storms, especially with those one cost minions. Those one health minions. She'll be able to protect some of the rest of the board.
Yeah. And Trojanator, we saw her keep the Corsair Cache and the Ankar in the opening hand, and I definitely agree with that. I love the keeping of the Ankar because, like I mentioned, she's really going to be looking to pull those pirates and hopefully an armor smith to try to slow down and contest what Edelweiss is doing.
Yeah. Just the Ankar. Had to point it out, finds a risky skipper, but I really like this hand for Trojanator. I feel like it's incredibly strong. You've got the upgrades, so there's synergy with these weapons and with the Corsair Cache as well. That's something else that there's so much synergy there. And the risky skipper is definitely something else to help start to thin out the deck. And the shield block coming into hand is really nice.
I feel like there's a couple routes that Trojanator could go this turn. I mean, if she really wants to, yeah, I mean, she can attack into this like we see. She could have done something like a hero power shield slam, which does not feel quite as good, but she didn't feel as desperate as that.
Cruel fate awaits you in the ashes.
You know, by picking up the stealth. Get some extra draw here.
Yeah. Use the deadly poison so early, trying to push so much damage. Recognize that this is a sprint for the rogue right now, especially before the warrior gets a chance to set up.
Trojanator, a lot of tools in hand, can make a trade into the 3/3 and then
use Blade
Storm. Either way, Blade Storm and then the trade. I'm gonna play out the Ethereal Lackey. Oh.
Well. What do we have here?
I like the bookend two here, the Execute and the Brawl. Both pretty good.
I think picking up the Brawl makes a lot of sense, especially because Trojanator is only running one copy. So in case things get dicey, then there is a Brawl that Edelweiss is also going to have to play around.
Yeah, and not to mention the fact that the Execute, you do have to target something with that, and Edelweiss is playing the stealth version of Rogue, so a lot of the minions here coming into play stealthed, even if she could damage them with a risky skipper play, she might not be able to target them, so... But, like you mentioned, there's the copy of the Brawl from the deck.
Couple of options. Does Edelweiss just dagger and deadly poison again?
That's what I was looking at too.
Oh, stab here and then sneaky delinquent.
Trojanator really would love an armor smith here.
Mm-hmm. Pretty risky to use the wrench caliber.
What now?
Yeah,
I think that
feels
leaves
a little clunky.
Yeah. I wonder if this is a Brawl turn.
Oh man, it might be. I think it feels so bad for Trojanator because of the way Edelweiss played this with those death rattles out on board.
Mm-hmm. No, for sure. It's really tough. It's a really tough call, but Trojanator's making the wrench caliber play.
She can play the upgrade and then play the cutting class if she wants as well.
Chooses to deal with the Greyheart Sage. It's a bomb into Edelweiss's deck, so maybe that'll come up. But it still has the ability to hero power here, so Etrogenitor sitting at a life total of 18. But Edelweiss has so much damage in hand.
Yeah.
And now it's time to Deadly Poison.
And Edelweiss doesn't even really need to play much if she doesn't want to. Plays with one more minion and... You know, I wonder if she even plays the Eviscerate here.
Yeah, I honestly think just go for it.
Yeah, because even if Trojanator tries to clear the board, that Lillian Death Rattle creates another 4-attack minion that attacks immediately.
Yeah.
So there is the chance that if the board is cleared, Edelweiss will actually just have lethal because of that.
I feel like that's always been like a calling card watching Edelweiss play. Has always been doing a great job of setting up the board around plays like that. Because there's another play that I'm looking at too that I feel like she's playing around, and it's forcing Trojanator into a position where she can only really brawl, or she has to have the second copy of Shield Block.
Yeah.
And I think that this is definitely not the position that Trojanator wanted to have this deck in. It hasn't just... I know you're right about kind of missing out on all of that armor from not having the armor with both the flippers in hand.
That's what Edelweiss set up for, and that is why she played the Eviscerate last turn, was setting it up for something exactly like that.
Yeah.
Very well played by her. I think that was really, really great. So, I mean, that was a 2-0? Like a fast 2-0 for Edelweiss? Wow.
Yeah, it's amazing because like when we were talking before the broadcast, we were like, oh, it's going to be super competitive. There's $250 on the line. People might be slowing it down a little bit based on the qualifiers that we've seen and the decks that we've seen come through from Grandmasters, but no. It's all about face. So we've seen Face Hunter on a lot of different lineups and these faster rogue decks coming through. It's been really, really fun to watch so far.
Yeah, it really has. Yeah. I'll admit, I'll say it on air, you know, Necker kind of hinting at it. I was like, I think tonight's going to be a little slower. You know, we might see like some priest, we might see some druid.
I was expecting the priest too, to be very, very fair. I was like, that's coming out tonight. I have a feeling we haven't seen it for like the last 6 weeks, and as full force as we did in the first couple, it's coming back. So like, I was in the same boat as you.
Yeah, and then these ladies just, nope, it is all going face. You know, no time to stall, no time to wait around, just,
ain't got
just
time.
get in there. No time to mess around when there's $250 on the line. You get in there, you beat them before they can do anything, and then you call it a night.
You just book it. Book it to the end. I love it. I think the strategy has worked out really well so far. We'll see if it continues to win and succeed in these next couple of matches, but we've got a treat for you. We're going to be queuing up another match as this one finished up quicker than expected. So maybe let's go ahead and take a quick look at the bracket and show you what else we've got on tap for our top 8 of our Supergirl Gamer Pro. We already saw Edelweiss move on, taking that quick 2-0 over Trojanator. But Trojanator's not out of things. Trojanator has qualified for our top 8 spots in the Grand Championships on October 2nd. So it's definitely something that she should be proud of. It's all about seeding from this point forward. So we've still got Revi versus Grumpy Kitten, Malira versus Andifern, and Linthesis versus Valera Light taking place.
Yeah, and I think we're going to be jumping into the Linthasys Valera Light match here. So, looks like here's a druid, here's a priest. This is what we were expecting.
There it
There
is.
it is.
We just had to cast or curse it, that's all.
That's right, that's right. So we are kind of jumping in a few turns into the game already, but Valera Light here down on the bottom with the druid and Linthasys. We've seen her bring priest quite a bit, I feel like, and she has stuck with it.
Well, Dawn, here's something that's interesting. We're seeing a druid priest mirror for Linthasys and Valera Light. Linthasys had brought a Tempo Demon Hunter, but it has been banned. And Valera Light on the other side had a Bomb Warrior, which has also been banned out, so it has left both of these players with the druid and the priest.
Yes, and that Soul Demon Hunter from Linthasys, like you mentioned, banned, but yeah, these were the kind of lineups that we were both kind of expecting. So here it is. Look at these choices. Taking the deck at whatever she wants from Valera Light's hand. Feels pretty good. Valera Light, yeah, she can just get a value trade on any of these minions here and then get some draw. See if she finds something else to do. Nature studies? Hero power doesn't really do much here, so I like the nature studies. Ooh.
Guardian Animals.
Guardian Animals seems good, but look at this hand.
Yeah, I know. I feel like honestly, buff might not be too bad to have.
Yeah.
It's just kind of about if you want the twin spell or if you want the lower cost power of the wild.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's quite a bit of beasts in hand already for Valera Light. Yeah, that's actually really interesting is that the druid lists are a little bit different for both of these players. We have a little bit more of the Emerald Explorer Breath of Dreams package for Linthasys, and Linthasys is also running King Pharos and Survival of the Fittest, which is not where Valera Light's deck list actually tops out. Valera's will top out at 0.
Yeah, and actually the King Pharos and Survival of the Fittest package has kind of started to become a little bit more popular. It's not every list, but it's not uncommon now. So it's pretty interesting. I feel like that does do a bit better in some of the longer games. Just kind of getting to that point to be able to play King Pharos. Sometimes it's just a little bit too clunky and slow in faster matchups, but yeah, like you mentioned, I mean, we're seeing druids and priests, so I think we're going to see some, we're going to see some King Pharos value at some point in this series.
I like that also there's a couple of options for Valera. She could go for the wild growth, but that doesn't leave her with the ability to play a minion. Except for Speaker Ghidra, if she so chooses. And I love the ordering of this because if the Speaker goes down first, then you can play the wild growth out and get the spell burst.
Yeah. And clear off 2 minions.
Yeah, I'm assuming both of these Madame Fools are going to go.
But I mean, getting some extra mana for next turn, as well as clearing off 2/3 of the board, is a pretty solid turn.
Yeah, I was getting a little worried there for a moment that Linthasys was starting to run away with the game really early for a priest. But druid can do druid things, and I definitely don't want to count out a druid before we've seen those swing turns come through.
You know, unfortunately, with these beasts being played from hand, none of them will get the rush effect that they would if they got pulled with Guardian Animals. So these Threshers, as good as the Threshers look being able to attack, they can't attack yet if Valera Light plays them. So kind of just sit on board, not doing anything.
Now how about...
Which is why I feel like Valera Light is really kind of looking at that Twilight Runner.
Yeah.
Hopefully it sticks on board and she can attack with it next turn for some extra draw.
Time goes short.
Let's see.
Yeah, it's unlikely the Lake Thresher stays alive.
Yeah.
But I think the Twilight Runner is definitely the best bet here. And Bogboon as well. Just deals with the Rapscallion.
I do want to mention as well that Olympus says this priest deck that we're seeing right now, you can kind of see the Dragon Queen Alexstrasza in hand. It is the Highlander priest. And actually, both of these players, Valyra Light as well, is running the Highlander priest. Let's just steal this. Oh. This is not what Valyra Light wanted to see at all.
Ooh, and the inner fire from Wandmaker. Oh boy. Well, the board positioning is also super awkward. The Lake Thresher with both of them in hand can't get drawn, even if Valyra Light had a Guardian Animals. And with the positioning, it doesn't even clear out the taunt.
Let's see.
Yeah.
And it can't clear off all 3 minions before the Twilight Runner gets its value from stealth.
Yeah, this hand is just so awkward for Valyra Light. This is really not what she wants to be seeing.
Now,
and what's worse is that later in the game, when she draws those Guardian Animals, then those become dead in hand.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a cycle of awkward hands, and there is potential for Valyra Light to kind of get one of those big swing turns, get back in the game, but Lymphosis is really going to try to put on the pressure, I think, with that last play, making sure that Inner Fire went out. The stealth minion that we see right now will change back to a 5/4 at the start of Lymphosis' turn.
Yeah.
Oh, and the Zephyrus pickup now, too.
Wow.
Oh my goodness.
Well, I do want to mention something that we could see huge swing turns even without the Guardian Animals being used, because Valyra Light has opted to run 2 copies of Animated Broomstick. We can see they're not in hand right now, but that's going to be super helpful later on to be able to deal with some of the bigger boards that Lymphosis is creating.
Yeah, that's a great point. And that could make these Lake Threshers a little bit better later, if possible. Or they can work with the portals that are going to come out of the Ysera in hand as well. But Valyra Light's going to have to get to that point in the game. She needs to get the draw going. She has to draw not only the portals, but those broomsticks.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, she has to get something happening with her deck here. But what I'm worried about for Valyra Light is all of the answers that Lymphosis has. She has now the Chrome. I mean, her hand is full of answers, I feel like. There's so many tools that Lymphosis has now that's going to make every turn just so difficult for Valyra Light.
Yeah, I agree. I think that Valyra is really going to struggle in this matchup. I also saw that we saw Lightning Bloom come out early. We were jumping into the game a little bit past when it started, so I didn't get a chance to see what the Lightning Bloom was for.
Now, how about...
But that did leave Valyra Light pretty severely locked for the wild growth that was in hand, and had the nature studies not been drawn from the Twilight Runner, then it would have been very difficult, I think, for Valyra to even be in the position that she is now.
Yeah.
Now, how about...
And now, another awkward turn. Yeah. Initially I was looking at just dropping the Ysera and playing the Ironbark, but I wonder if it's actually Ironbark on the 3/2 to give it the 4 attack to be able to just trade in.
Yeah.
And it is not ideal at all, but it does allow Valyra to try to stick something on board, as well as clear off some of what Lymphosis has been able to stick for the last few turns.
handful of answers. You're not kidding about that one. Here's one of those answers. Zephyrus the Great. Maybe getting played out. Or maybe I'm just getting baited. But I think that playing the Twilight Runner first makes a lot of sense. Get a chance to see what else comes into the hand before you go.
Your wish is my suggestion.
Right.
Hmm.
The wind speaker is a little interesting. It does add a lot of damage. The problem is the target that Linthesis has on board right now that she would want to use the wind speaker on also draws her another 2 cards when it attacks, and she's got a very full hand. That's not really what she's looking for right now. I feel like we don't really see people take Giant very often off the Zephyrus, so I really like this Giant pick here.
Yeah, the Giant's super interesting.
Yeah, and there's not a lot of ways for Druid to deal with it right now, especially without the broomstick, like you mentioned.
Yeah, because that's not a broomstick, and I feel like Valeera would really like to see that broomstick come into hand for the second copy of Lake Thresher.
Yeah.
But even still, Linthesis is playing around it so well.
What?
Like, something stays alive, no matter how you look at it.
Yeah, and actually the way that Linthesis played that last turn, she has exactly 15 on board right now. So if Valeera Light does not hero power, she is just dead on board.
Now how my dream is
So I think she has to just use this Lightning Bloom and then do the hero power just for the 1 armor and hope that Linthesis doesn't have a way to deal 1 more damage.
Yeah.
Job done.
Well, we're about to find out.
A simple spell should do.
1 cost spells coming into hand.
Okay.
Mind Vision. Ooh.
Why not? Get the 8/8 down on board.
Yeah. There's very little that Valeera can do to clear out a moon with 8 health.
Yeah, and I really like that too. Just in case, Valeera did play the Ysera, so just in case there's a chain of portals that come out, put some big dragons or big taunts out, then it kind of helps solidify the board for Linthesis and just kind of no portals though. Yeah.
Well, the priest wins out on this version of the priest versus the druid. So nice work coming through from Linthesis to be able to get the win with the priest. Now she has to get a win with the druid.
Yes. And, we kind of mentioned earlier, but that is the King Phaeorus double survival of the fittest version that Linthesis will now be playing. A double broomstick as well there, so these players definitely wanting to go for that rush potential. Yeah. Valeera can bring the druid that we just saw from her, or she can bring her own Highlander priest. I don't know. What do you want to see here?
I mean, I personally like Druid versus Druid because it means more Druids getting played, and I mean, you know how I feel about Druid. But I honestly think that the Druid versus Druid matchup heavily favors Linthesis going into those longer turns because of that King Phaeorus as well as the survival of the fittest. But at a certain point, you've got to be able to win with both decks. So we'll see if Valeera can actually get off to a fast start here. It all depends on what we see coming to hand for Linthesis and Valeera Light in these first couple of turns.
Yeah, and I see a little bit of ramp on each side, but some ramp plus the guardian animals for Valeera Light looks pretty good.
Yeah.
Now how about...
And the broomstick, the teaser a little bit.
I was wondering if she was thinking about like lightning blooming wild growth, but I think not. And oh man, I was gonna say Breath of Dreams becomes powerful if you have a dragon, but there wasn't a dragon in hand until we saw Ysera get top deck. That's huge.
And I'm just going to check. There are 3 dragons. 3 dragons in the list. That is it. The Ysera and the 2 Emerald Explorers for Linthesis. So, yeah, to draw one of 3 so early was definitely very, very good for her. I suspect she would have played that anyways, just for the potential of trying to find a dragon and potentially get that ramp, but the deck just gave it to her, and yeah, that's exactly what she was looking for there.
Works out beautifully. Could go for... I almost want to see Linthesis wait to use the Lightning Bloom until she can play out the Guardian Animals. Yeah, I would shapeshift and just kind of pass the rest of the turn.
Yeah, you know, and I do want to question a little bit from Valeera Light. That last turn we saw her just hero power. I think I would have liked to see the coin into the Wild Growth.
Yeah.
Because then she could have actually, this turn she would be on 4 mana and she could play the Overgrowth. But the second Lightning Bloom now in hand, she can go in now this turn.
Yeah, do you just Guardian Animals?
I think so. I feel like you just go for it.
Doesn't leave you with very much to do the next turn, is the problem I see with that, but...
How about...
That's true. Although if she pulls even just 1 Twilight Runner, she does have more draw potential, and there's no way for Linthesis to clear it, so she can get some draw into something else. Smaller, potentially, to use next turn. Or... yeah. I think it's fine. But we're gonna see kind of the same play come out from Linthesis.
Yeah. Ooh, and a Lake Thresher as well.
Wow. Yeah.
Oh man, that play works out so much better for Valeera if Linthesis doesn't have the same answer, and then also doesn't get the Lake Thresher, because then at least the Twilight Runner is still alive for this next turn. But the Lake Thresher was the perfect pull for Linthesis.
Yeah. And both of the lists are running double Thresher, double Twilight Runner, 1 Teacher's Pet. So in terms of the minions that could get pulled from the Guardian Animals, both lists were exactly the same. The only difference was factoring in what was in hand. Oh, so now Valeera Light's a little bit behind here.
Goes for the Bog theme.
Yeah. Right. She gets this nature studies out. See what she finds. Ooh. Well, Mark of the Wild?
I don't mind the Rising Winds either. I think that's going to help develop a board. But yeah, Valeera is behind. And even we can see the Lake Thresher, the second copy of Lake Thresher that's in hand for Linthesis. So even if Rising Winds ends up being Eagles, that's not great. I like getting Ysera out now. Okay, I see Lake Thresher and Animated Broomstick. It doesn't clear the Teacher's Pet though, unfortunately. So I'm not entirely sure what the plan is.
Now,
Can you Ghidra? No, I guess. Oh, yeah, you can use the animated broomstick as well. That also gets Rush, so that should be able to clear out the teacher's pet too. Can also tap. Looks like we lost Dawn, so it's gonna be a solo mission until she gets back. This is still in a pretty commanding position, though. Gets the Emerald Explorer into hand, which is the perfect thing to play when overloaded last turn by the Lightning Boom Ysera play that we saw come out for Linthesis. Really love the choices from the Emerald Explorer, but looking at the long game, I almost wonder whether or not Alexstrasza might be a play. I mean, Valyria Light is already so low that Alexstrasza really only helps herself or ends up being an 8/8 body to deal with, so I kind of like the Twin Tyrant as well, just to be able to clear out some more of the minions. Going to make a trade here to get rid of the Lake Thresher on Valyria Light's side, but Guardian Animals looks to be very strong now, especially after we saw the nature studies come through that is going to be discounted to 6 mana. So should be able to play the Speaker Ghidra plus the Guardian Animals here. It's going to be very, very strong. Nice. Gets the Lake Thresher. So the Twilight Runner. Gonna use the Ghidra first to hit into the Emerald Explorer, it looks like. But there's some ordering here that has to happen. And it's unfortunate that this Emerald Explorer is placed on the outside when it's heavily going around this Lake Thresher. So really great position by her. I still think that the Thresher here does a pretty good job of being able to clear up the Emerald Explorer plus the Ysera, and then you can leave your Twilight Runner or your Ghidra to deal with the Sarutu. So I think I like this play quite a bit. Twilight Runner first, just see what you draw. Has the coin in the Innervate still, and just got an Overflow, which is going to be super helpful next turn, depending on whether or not anything sticks. Linthesis now is kind of sitting at the back foot. Has an Overflow, but that really only helps Valyria. So this Twin Tyrant pickup going to hopefully get the cleanup onto the Twilight Runner and the Lake Thresher. Lake Thresher down, and it is the Twilight Runner, so it will leave the Ghidra. But being able to clear up 2 of those minions is super helpful for Linthesis. I think had their damage gone onto the Ghidra, we would have seen the animated broomstick come out just to be able to clean up the Ghidra. But Valyria could send all of this damage face if she so chooses. Fog Beam first. First hit of the Ghidra should be able to clear up the Tyrant. And then Overflow. What a beautiful set of plays for Valyria. Draws the second copy of Overflow plus another copy of Overgrowth. But the Iron Bark is looking real strong to just buff up this Ghidra and give it a second hit. I like this as well. So you could use the Iron Bark onto the Eagle and just draw the attention away from the Ghidra. But either way, this Thresher animated broomstick play from Linthesis is looking pretty good. Nature Studies. Doesn't find anything that's too good. Just kind of a quick pickup there. Now it's Linthesis' turn.
Now how about...
Is there a way to play out Actually, don't think there is a way to be able to play out the Lake Thresher as well as... Let's see, I don't know. Do you have to overflow here? That leaves Linthus very vulnerable if she goes for that. Power first, then Eagle. Overflow is going to give Linthus a full hand and also heal that Speaker Ghidra back up to full. But because the Zera portals were already put into the deck, and the Anubis Staff Defenders are coming into hand, this should be a really big turn for Linthus. I love saving the animated broomsticks here.
My dream is your nightmare.
Did she get the play out in time though? Anubis Staff Defender comes down. But it's such a long animation for the portals. I don't know if it came through. Oh, she had to use... Okay, so she went so fast that she had to use the Deathwing Mad Aspect as a part of that hit. So... overdoing it with the cleanup onto the Speaker Ghidra from Valir Lightside, but now this has been a huge turn for Linthus to get back into a commanding position. Exotic Mount Seller might be a good option.
Now how about...
I supply only the finest creatures.
Just see what comes out. Need a couple of taunts here. Oh, that's why the Germination came through. I really like that. Got a Vixor. This is also a huge board for Valeera. Wild Growths haven't done too much for Valir Light, but should be able to help with some draw mechanic in the back when the Zera goes down. But survival of the fittest here from Linthus, and this is one of the reasons that Don was mentioning before this match, was that the survival of the fittest coming through lends itself so well to that Druid. And at the end game, when it ends up going on for a little bit of a longer time. So I'm super excited that Linthus is going to be moving on. Unfortunately, we don't have Dawn with us right now, but we will get her back as soon as we can. But Linthus is winning out with the Highlander Priest as well as the Druid with the Survival of the Fittest is going to allow Linthus to move on to our top 4. So very, very excited about that. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we will have our top 4 matches, hopefully Dawn back, and we will keep on chugging with the Supergirl Gamer Pro. Thanks so much for being with us. We're going to hear from our sponsors, and we'll be back soon.
So I'm going to hold on promoting you this quarter. Cool?
Drop the taco. Get in the car. Does this Sentra feel like a compromise to you?
Wait, what?
The handling is good, right? No compromise there.
Nope.
Watch this.
Brief. Rear automatic braking. So if this Nissan Sentra isn't going to compromise, why should you? You're right. Atta girl.
The all-new Nissan Sentra, with more standard safety features than any other car in its class.
It's not just the ships, the armor, or the aircraft. It's something more. It's the will to fight and determination to win, found inside each and every Marine that answers a nation's call. Battles won.
You can trade all the games, accessories, consoles, and tech you don't use anymore to get cash or store credit at GameStop. Check out the Trade Center on the GameStop app, visit GameStop.com/trade, or talk to a guest advisor at your local GameStop store to see how much your trades are worth.
back, everybody, and welcome back, Dragon Rider. It's good to have you back. I'm really excited about getting to do the rest of the broadcast, and we're going to be kicking it off with top 4. I'm super excited about getting into these next matches, and I'm also really excited to tell you about one of our sponsors. Zenny Gaming has been so good to us, and I love these specs. They are super, super cool. Go check them out. They have the blue light reduction on the glasses, and there's so many different types and styles. You can get them with prescription, without prescription, with transition lenses, whatever you want. It's really great to have that customizable option. But we are going to be getting into top 4, so let's take a quick look at the bracket, see where things stand, and just kind of jump back into things.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're watching Edelweiss versus Trojanator, and in the other part of the bracket, it looks like, we talked about Edelweiss and Trojanator earlier. Oh my goodness, look at this. Revy, though, taking that win over Grumpy Kitten.
That is going to be an unfortunate knockout for Grumpy Kitten out of our top 8. I don't think it's going to be enough to overtake the point differential that Valeria Light has had over her for that 8th place spot. So we're definitely playing for seeding at this point, as we do have our top 8 players locked in. We'll tell you a little bit more about them later. But yeah, we saw Edelweiss and Trojanator on broadcast. It was a quick 2-0 for Edelweiss, and then with Linthysys and Valeria Light, Linthysys ended up beating Valeria Light in a 2-0. So that was very exciting for the Priest and the Druid matchups. But we're going to be jumping into Linthysys versus Edelweiss for our very first top 4 match. And why don't we talk a little bit about the deck lists that we're seeing from both of these players? Even that we just saw them broadcast, let's just kind of walk back through it again.
Yeah, absolutely. So like you mentioned, we did already see both on stream already, but for Linthysys, we have the Soul Demon Hunter, kind of a control type deck, the Druid that we got to see with the King Phaeorus and the Highlander Priest, and then Edelweiss with the Face Hunter and the not Bomb Warrior, but the Egg Warrior, which I really want to see. So I don't know why I'm just so hyped about that for some reason. And then the Stealth Rogue. And it looks like the bans have come through. Edelweiss's Face Hunter has been banned, as well as the Druid for Linthysys. So we'll actually get to see the Egg Warrior that we didn't get to see previously, and we'll get to see the Soul Demon Hunter that we also did not get to see because that was banned in the previous series. So pretty excited that we get to see some different decks here that we haven't seen from either of these players yet tonight.
Yeah, and another thing I feel like you love to mention is that there's 6 different classes represented here between these two deck lineups. So really excited that we are seeing so many different archetypes come through, and I'm just as excited about this aggro warrior as you. It's been a while since we've gotten a chance to see some good egg aggro warrior, and can't wait to get a chance to see some of that come through again. But I'm also really interested in this sociologist demon hunter. Like, do you want to tell me a little bit more about kind of like what we might expect from this deck? Because like that's one that I'm really not familiar with.
Yeah, absolutely. So the Soul Demon Hunter has become more popular, and there's kind of a few different variations on it. Some of the lists, this one is not running it, but some of the lists are running Magtheridon. It's kind of like a big, it's a 12/12 that comes out on board that clears the board when it kind of awakens from that dormant. But this list not running it. It's a little bit more aggressive. It's still kind of a mid-range or combo style control deck, if that makes any sense. That nobody has really figured out yet what it really is, because these soul fragments, I know it sounds so weird, but these soul fragments and kind of the synergies that come with these are just still so new and kind of unique that sometimes it plays out as like a tempo deck, sometimes it plays out as a control deck. It's just and there's combos sometimes with building up a big weapon and then clearing the board with Blade Dance, or building up a big Aldraki Warblades and getting a bunch of healing and getting back into the game that way. So there's like a lot of different ways that these decks can actually play out in the different matchups, and it's just been one of those decks that's really interesting to see, and it's a slightly hard to play, so I'm really interested to see the play, but we're not going to get to see the Demon Hunter in this first game. First game is going to be Edelweiss on the Stealth Rogue and Linthesis on that Highlander Priest.
All right, so... Ooh, double burrowing Scorpion in hand makes for a little bit clunky right now. But seeing a very similar turn 1 play to what we saw Edelweiss pop out before, which is just getting the pirate on board, even though no weapon has been attached for the charge.
Yeah. And I do want to mention this, if for those watching, if you don't know what this 3-cost minion is in Edelweiss's hand, this is a skydiving instructor, 3 mana 2/2 with a battle cry. Summon a 1-cost minion from your deck. She is only running the 1 copy, but this can help her pull out some stealth minions. Or if she has a weapon, it can pull the other Celsi deckhand for some extra little burst damage there.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I haven't seen this as an inclusion in many decks so far for the stealth package, but I feel like it makes a lot of sense. Especially what you just mentioned, being able to summon, like, you know, maybe your Worgen or your Spy Mistress. I definitely think that that's going to be super beneficial for later.
Yeah, absolutely. As well as just getting something else out of the deck, playing it for you. This case wasn't the best for the Celsi deckhand, but it does just pull something out of the deck, so it makes the next draws more likely to be something that Edelweiss is looking for to want to play.
Well, Renew fishing a little bit here. It's a chance to play out a minion as well. Oh, but Infiltrator Lillian. Remember how we got a chance to see this card in action before? Beautiful setup by Edelweiss with that Infiltrator Lillian to set up for lethal.
Yeah, and it's coming down here just on curve for tempo, but also providing a little bit of stealth there to keep something on board. Ooh, Linthesis clearing up a lot of the board though. Everything basically besides the stealth.
Yeah. I feel like this matchup makes for some tough times for the rogue, especially with all the healing resources that the priest has at their disposal. I just think that this is going to be tough to get through.
Yeah, and the fact that, I mean, this hand from Edelweiss is really not kind of how the deck should be working. Edelweiss is really looking for more minions or something small to play in combination with the Hook Scimitar here, and not having these Scimitars just sitting in hand where she can't get the combo benefit from them. She hasn't found any draw either, and now Linthesis basically just getting to play for the board and find whatever kind of tools that she wants. And the Soul Cleave clears the board. Oh, the Death Rattle hits the 1 minion that it doesn't kill.
Well, the Backstab is here. You also have the ability to play one of those Hooked Scimitars.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's definitely not the minion that Edelweiss wanted the Death Rattle to hit.
No. And now she's almost forced to do the Scorpid instead of playing out one of these weapons. Yeah, getting stuck with these combo weapons in hand does feel pretty bad for Edelweiss.
Grades getting low.
Yeah, what are you supposed to do? That's so unlucky. Because like you can't really like deadly poison hit and then play the hooked scimitar.
I mean, she can. It just, yeah, it's not ideal. It might have to be the play unless she just wants to play out. Yeah, I guess she just plays the scimitar and then poisons on it. But she would love that to have 6 attack right now.
Mm-hmm.
My stick now.
And Linthus just decides to snag that weapon up anyways. Say, nope, that is mine now. And who knew the priest could have the board and a weapon and just start smacking the other opponent in the face.
Oh boy, yeah, it's weird because like you never see that card actually find value in a lot of matchups, but worked out this time. But no stealth minion, so this Greyheart Sage isn't going to be able to draw any more cards. Does Edelweiss just have to tap and pass?
I guess so. Oh, yeah, I mean, if she goes for just dropping the Greyheart Sage and playing the other Scimitar, she just gives up any potential that she could have.
You are too late. His return is nigh.
Linthus is just... It feels so weird saying the priest is pushing all of this damage, but
yeah, it does.
That's what's happening this game. I mean, she's gotten out on the board, she's been able to keep the board control, and then just stealing that weapon as well. Kind of was just one of the last few gut punches, I think, for Edelweiss.
Yeah, there's not too much that she can do in this situation. There is... Wait, there's lethal on board.
There is. She has 19. Is she gonna see it?
Linthus is...
There's 19 damage on board right now for Linthus.
Oh, it doesn't look like she sees it. Wait.
Well, yeah, she's pausing. No.
Oh, she doesn't see it. Oh no.
They break so easily.
Alright. I'm finding more removal. Just keep going with the removal. Just clear off everything there. Push more damage. Edelweiss finds the stealth, though. She can... I don't know what she finds here.
Fate awaits you in the ashes.
Eviscerate?
Okay.
Secret passage?
Oh my gosh.
Wait! Is that mistake gonna cost Linthus here? There's another Eviscerate. There's a Sinister
How much
Strike.
damage is this? Oh my gosh. It's still not enough damage, is it?
Oh no.
No.
The Eviscerate should have cleared out the minions. Edelweiss might have had a chance. Seven, 11. Oh, you're too off. She's too off.
Job's done.
Plays it out anyways.
Yeah. Oh man.
Swiftly.
Wow.
Smart move. I concede.
Oh, she almost had it there. That is... Ooh. That's
Oh my
crazy.
gosh. I was like, the secret passage might actually do it. I was like, okay, got a stealth minion, Greyheart Sage came in, and then you saw the secret passage plus one of the copies of Eviscerate. And I was like, wait, she might be there. But Priest does Priest things, and one heal from the Priest was enough to be able to bring her out of lethal range. Linus is still definitely missed a lethal opportunity there, but it ended up not working against her, which is good.
Yeah. So Linthesis takes the win the first game with the Priest and now has to get a win with the Soul Demon Hunter.
Mm-hmm.
And Edelweiss still has the Rogue or the Warrior here. Looks like she's opting for the Warrior.
Warrior versus the Soul Demon Hunter, huh? You can already see one of the eggs in hand, which is not something that Edelweiss is going to keep, but is one of the key components of this warrior list that Edelweiss is running.
Let's see. Alright, so Linthesis keeps one of the Marrow Slicers. Finds a little bit of some early game removal potential there. Edelweiss just hero powering, not much really going on in the first couple of turns here.
No, it's going to be a lot of passing and waiting, I think. But Edelweiss has a piece of the package that I think is so important that we didn't get a chance to see earlier, which is that Risky Skipper and the Armor Smith.
Yeah.
So having both of those pieces, I think, is a really big benefit to Edelweiss.
And if she had kept the egg, I know it's kind of looking back now, so maybe it's one of those, 2020 hindsight kind of things. But if she had the egg here, she could have dropped the egg on turn 2 and then done some pretty cool plays on turn 3 or 4. Taking it really slow, though.
I mean, this could be a long one. This is not the tempo version of the Demon Hunter that we're used to seeing.
Right.
So it is going to be off to a little bit of a slower start, which buys Edelweiss a lot of time. But at the same time, I feel like Linthesis has been doing such a good job of pushing damage.
Yeah, which, I mentioned it when we were casting the last game with that Priest. It's these games you typically look at and you think, okay, these are slow, kind of control type decks, but Linthesis found the lines to turn Priest into the aggressor in that last matchup, and I feel like she's kind of already starting down that same path with this deck as well. She's trying to find the lines to actually just push the damage and force Edelweiss to come up with the answers instead.
Yeah, and Edelweiss has played so defensively oriented that she hasn't had to do very much except tap and pass. Ooh, those soul fragments. That's unfortunate.
My thanks.
At full health.
Yeah, especially both of them, but just having to drop a 5/5 for tempo. But I think that really kind of just speaks to exactly how Linthesis has been playing these games.
Mm-hmm.
she's putting the threat out there, and she's forcing Edelweiss to answer it.
Not a super clean answer in hand either this time around.
Yeah.
For Edelweiss. I wonder if you just let it go. I can see the school of thought of maybe battle raging to try to find an answer, but at the same time, it's only a 5/5, and Linthesis hasn't been putting out like huge threats that haven't been able to be removed in the past. Next turn, you can play the Blood Boil Brute.
Yeah. Edelweiss would love to play that brute this turn. Yeah, there's really not a good way to do it. Unless she uses the Inner Rage. That just feels pretty bad, though. And it kind of goes, I feel like, maybe against her defensive play, like you mentioned.
Our enemies will fall.
Okay. But Linthesis just sticking with the kind of aggressive game plan that she's already on.
Yeah.
I like it.
But it's risky skipper time. And this is the play that Edelweiss has been so patiently waiting for, which is the Armor Smith and being able to play out multiple minions to be able to discount this Blood Boil Brute. And also Battle Rage. I'm just looking at how much synergy there is in this hand right now.
Quite a bit of armor.
And then you can just Inner Rage away the Glaive Bound.
Yeah. Which is pretty defensive, and that's exactly how Edelweiss has been playing this game so far.
Yeah, I mean, okay, Edelweiss was at 16 health before this turn started.
Yeah.
And is now 22 armored tall. What the heck? That's the power of the warrior, for sure. And all of that hard work that Linthesis put into getting Edelweiss to that 16 life total, a lot of that burst damage is gone now. But I say that, and then I realize that we're also talking about a demon hunter. Might have wanted to clear the Armor Smith first before clearing out the... Yeah, it just gives Edelweiss a little bit less armor.
Must burn them all.
Well, picking up this egg now. Can do something with the egg and Terran. I'm wondering if she wants to go for either a turn 9 or turn 10 skipper Gromage type play.
Mm-hmm.
And if she waits till 10, she can do the skipper Gromage and then the Shield of Honor.
Do you Terran here?
Yeah, I think it's fine.
I love that animation. Oh, that's so fun. Okay, so Linthesis has a lot of options still. Still kind of looking at...
I grow impatient.
So I see the second copy of Glaive Bound Adept.
Yeah.
It's good to be able to push some damage, but
Or does she have to use it for removal at this point?
Demons? Demons.
2 4-health minions sitting on board, but one of them is a little bit scarier than the other.
grows short.
All right. Yep, there's the Glaive Bound.
Start chipping away at some of that armor that Edelweiss has put together.
Yeah.
Ooh. Ankar, I think at this point, since we've seen both Risk and Skipper, only draws...
Sky Raider?
No, there are no Sky Raiders in this deck.
Did she use them already?
There's literally none in the deck list.
Oh, I see 2 in the deck.
Oh, am I not looking at the right person? I'm not looking at the right person.
Okay. I was like,
wait.
well...
Oh, wait a minute. I was like, oh, that doesn't make sense. Sky Raider is like a crucial part of the deck. No, you're right. There are 2, so we should only draw Sky Raiders at this point.
Yes. Yeah.
My bad.
Yeah, there's no other pirates besides the Sky Raider and Skippers, so yeah, that's the only thing to draw here. This almost looks like it could be a good clear for Linthesis, but at the same time, not everything gets cleared. And it also just gives Edelweiss a lot of armor still.
Mm-hmm.
And then a 3/4 pops out, and the bomb could just kill. Like, what is going on with this board? How Edelweiss flipped this around?
It was all that patient play. We kind of sat here and we were like, okay, tap and pass. Try to clear off a minion, tap and pass. Playing a very, very patient game. But it's been working so far to flip it back around. Was that?
That was the only soul fragment.
Right.
So, yeah. Okay, Linthus is going in on the Blade Dance here. Oh, and she did not attack either.
No, she attacked with...
Oh, she attacked previously. Yep, she attacked...
Yeah.
Yeah,
she attacked with the
okay.
tap. And that's why I was scratching my head for a second. I was like... I feel like that would have been more damage.
Here is that turn 10 with the Skipper Shield of Honor, but the way that Edelweiss played this, she actually can attack here, and then she gets to squeeze in one more. Nope. Okay. I thought maybe she would just play a Sky Raider to trigger the bomb. To deal more damage, but even if she did that, even if both bombs hit for 4, she still would have left Linthesis at 1 health. So, no need to really kind of go all in and go crazy there.
One bomb goes to face. Divine Shield does get burst from the Gromish. I think that's probably why Edelweiss wanted to hold on to the Sky Raider. Just to be able to hold on to the Divine Shield, maybe? Oh, it's just gonna go into it. Flashy way to end game number 2 here and tie up this series. Edelweiss gets a win with the Aggro Warrior. And now Edelweiss has to go back over to the Stealth Rogue versus this Soul Demon Hunter. Who would have thought we would get to this point?
Yeah, and a little bit tough, I think. I'm not really sold on this matchup here. I think that Linthesis with the Soul Demon Hunter is going to be a little favored. There's a lot of the border removal for the Soul Demon Hunter, and because this is the stealth variant of Rogue for Edelweiss, it's so focused on the board and a bit less on playing out secrets or going for weapons. I feel like the Soul Demon Hunter is going to have a little bit of advantage here.
Okay, so Soul Demon Hunter might be able to take it. I feel like the only out is if Edelweiss is able to get off to like a pretty fast start. I'm thinking like stealth minion into Greyheart Sage, and just trying to push as much damage as possible. But I think that you're right with the removal tools that Linthusys has. It's going to be pretty difficult to work through that as the rogue.
Yeah, and you kind of mentioned this in the previous series that not a lot of decks right now, not a lot of archetypes are running healing. This is one of the few of them. This Soul Demon Hunter can get a lot of healing with the Eldrazi Warblades and buffing that weapon up, or comboing that with Blade Dance. So a lot of heal potential as well. Especially if Edelweiss cannot get that fast start, then yeah, it's going to be kind of an uphill battle for Edelweiss at that point. And look at that, Linthus is keeping the Warblades in hand exactly for that. She is already planning those big heal turns.
Super smart. Able to play out the Battle Fiend and also go ahead and use the hero power and the coin to remove the South Sea deckhand. Edelweiss has a good turn too, though. Should be able to play out the Sneaky Delinquent. But you're also worried at this point about this Battle Fiend getting too much value. Sneaky Delinquent should be able to clear it off, but Edelweiss is taking a hit this turn.
Yeah, absolutely. And Linthusys can just hero power if she wants to, or she can use this Chaos Strike and get a card draw going as well. Skull.
It'll be a while before we see that skull, unless the top decks are plentiful.
Yeah.
Oh, but the top deck is plentiful for Edelweiss. Gets the Greyheart Sage, gets a second copy of it, as well as the 2 of Eviscerate. Should be able to clear out this Battle Fiend.
So Edelweiss is kind of compiling a lot of burst damage potential in her hand at the moment. If she can get the Hook Scimitar out on board and push a little bit of damage over the next few turns, she might be able to squeeze in enough to get the Eviscerates out for some lethal damage, but still several turns away.
Stockpiling, though, for now. That was kind of another out that I saw, was just putting Linthusys into a position where the burst damage is enough to be able to get the one-turn knockout. But here's those weapons we were talking about with the lifesteal. Should be able to clean up that minion very nicely, but a second copy of Greyheart Sage and the Ash Tongue Slayer getting a chance to shine.
But for Linthusys, finding some Soul Fragment generation last turn was really key for her. And she finds even more here. She can really kind of clean up this board. She gets more Soul Fragments into the deck for potential healing, but also just to set up and have cards active for later, like the Soulciologist that she already has in hand.
Super interested about that card as well. Yeah, Soulciologist, Militia. For each soul fragment in your deck, summon a 3/3 soul with Rush. Oh boy. There's not enough removal, I think, in this deck to deal with all the soul fragments that have been put into the deck already.
Yeah.
That's a super interesting card. Does Edelweiss just keep pushing this damage face, though?
I think so. I think her game plan is just to try to set up for this Devil Eviscerate. But, she's already seen 1 Warblades as well, so it's a little less likely that Linthusys would have the second one for more healing.
I was just gonna ask, does she have to be worried about the Warblade
In the shadows.
or a second copy of it?
I mean, in a sense, I think she does, but I don't know if Linthesis, like I mentioned before, if she's able to find all of that healing, I don't know how Edelweiss even comes back in the game. So I think at this point, Edelweiss kind of just has to make these plays and hope that that second form of healing is just not available, and that Edelweiss can now set up to finish the game in the next turn or two. But
yeah, but what a great play for Linthesis, being able to play out the clear, the blade dance.
okay,
What makes
Jandis.
something real?
Ooh,
Ooh, Abomination? Yeah, that is super spicy. Just going into the Eviscerate.
yeah, yeah. She really just wants to push this damage and hope that she sticks something on board to finish up the game the next turn. I'm sure Edelweiss would love some sort of Shadow Step or something for that Nightblade on board, though, for some additional damage from the Battle Cry.
Well, has Secret Passage in hand. So maybe she can play out the Eviscerate and then get the Secret Passage going and see what comes through.
This power
Linthesis here. I'm going to use the Twin Slice, the Second Slice, and Hero Power to just maximize this last swing of the healing.
Wow. Yeah, 7 damage and 7 healing.
Yeah.
Alright, second copy of Eviscerate's coming out.
Edelweiss knows that that was the second Warblade, so damage, healing combo is gone. And sets herself up to just start next turn with the Secret Passage to try to find, again, the last bit of damage to hopefully close out the game next turn. I feel like I've said that for the last 4 turns now, but that's just the position that this back and forth has created.
I mean, that's just Linthesis doing a great job as well, keeping Edelweiss on her toes, in terms of just denying that inevitability of the lethal, which is, what we feel like has been coming for a couple of turns.
Yeah.
I see.
But yeah, both of these players feel so close.
Dusty Deckhand's going to be a little bit of extra. I like playing it out just in case you have enough mana to be able to deal with the weapon as well, but here comes...
There it is.
Yep.
You possess true power.
Wow, just in the nick of time, the hook scimitar with the deadly poison. Didn't even need this House of Deckhand except as an activator. And that's going to be game number 3 going to Edelweiss.
Wow. Yeah. That was a great series, I feel like. Just well played by both of the players. And we really kind of saw each of them from the very beginning, even the Mulligan, they each kind of had the game plan that they wanted for that matchup. And they just tried to find the pieces that they could to complete that game plan that they had from the start. So great play by both of them. That was match point. So Edelweiss taking the series 2-1 over Linthesis. Whew, what a game.
That was a really good game as well, because Linthesis is sitting in 3rd place and Edelweiss is in 4th. So if Edelweiss can come out with a win here, that means that she actually has the ability to overtake Linthesis in the standings. And so I'm really excited about that. But Linthesis is still going home with 50 points, for making it into our top 4. Let's go ahead and take a quick look at that bracket just to be able to kind of show off what we've got coming up on tap as well. So we saw Edelweiss get the win over Linthesis, but we still have Revi and Andifern playing out their top 4 match to see who's going to face Edelweiss in the grand finals.
Oh, this is just getting so intense. And I feel like these last few matches especially, we've really seen these players. I think that this is where they really start to realize or kind of have that fire that if they win tonight, that is $250 in their pocket just for tonight. Mm-hmm. And then that's not even counting what they could make from the top 8 championship. It's coming down to the wire. I'm excited, but we will get to see a lot more Hearthstone still tonight. We're going to be getting into the Revi versus Andifern match after this quick break.
For a long time, we had to prove ourselves. But we always knew what we were capable of. We knew when the time came, we would be ready for anything. Our numbers keep rising. And so do we.
So I'm gonna hold on promoting you this quarter. Cool?
Drop the taco. Get in the car. Does this Sentra feel like a compromise to you?
Wait, what?
Handling, it's good, right? No compromise there.
Nope. Watch this.
Rear automatic braking. So if this Nissan Sentra isn't going to compromise, why should you?
You're right.
Atta girl.
The all-new Nissan Sentra with more standard safety features than any other car in its class.
It's not just the ships, the armor, or the aircraft. It's something more. It's the will to fight and determination to win, found inside each and every Marine that answers a nation's call. Battles won.
Turn around, I feel the breeze over me. You watch your dreams unfold. Let it come around and let it breathe over me. It's time to go away into
back, everybody, to the Supergirl Gamer Pro Hearthstone broadcast for week number 9. We already have one grand finalist for the week, but we have yet to find our second. So we're going to be jumping into our second top 4 match between Revi and Andifern. So it looks like we can't hear Dawn at the moment, so gonna try to figure out how to get her back. But yeah, we have a top 4 match between Revi and Andifern coming up shortly, but I think we're gonna take a quick break to get those technical difficulties worked out for us, and then we'll be right back. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Take 2. We're going to try this one more time. Revi and Andifern on the tap for this next top 4 match. And we haven't got a chance to see them yet today, Dawn.
No, we haven't. So let's just do a super quick rundown. Revi bringing Hunter, Paladin, and Druid, with the Paladin being banned. Andifern with the Warrior, Priest, and Druid, the Warrior being banned. So we're going to see some Druid, Priest, and Hunter. And hopefully we can actually get jumping into the match really quickly here. Get these games rolling.
Yeah, I'm really excited about the matchup for Revi and Andifern. Just taking a look at the standings, Revi is our number 1 seed at the moment and definitely wants a 3rd week win under her belt for week number 9. I feel like that would just be kind of the icing on the cake for the run that she's had. But for Andifern is sitting in 6th place right now. Got a win in week number 2 and a 2nd place in week number 1, but has kind of struggled to find that synergy again since Scholomance Academy has kind of hit. So very excited to see Andifern up in the standings as well for this top 4 match. Can't wait.
Yeah, absolutely. And, just kind of talking about a few differences in the deck list while we wait to get this first game started. You talk about how much you love Druid. I want to see a Druid mirror match here, because we have Revi playing the double survival of the fittest, no King Phaoris in this list, but still with Kael'thas and one exotic Mount Seller, and then Andifern actually bringing Malyghost Druid. So we've seen so many different variations of Druid tonight. This is awesome.
Yeah, it's really cool. And Kael'thas Sunstrider is a really interesting inclusion because I think it still does really well in Survival of the Fittest decks. Even though there was that nerf to it, now that every 3rd spell you cast each turn costs 1, it's still super, super impactful to not have to spend an entire turn playing out Survival of the Fittest. So definitely able to get some really big swing turns with that.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's one of those cards that, since the nerf that you mentioned, people have kind of just been taking it out and playing different variations without it. So it's really cool to actually see somebody still playing that and running it. and only one exotic Mount Seller is pretty interesting. I feel like it's always either no Mount Sellers or 2 Mount Sellers, so just having a one of is pretty neat in there. And I do want to say here as well, Revy playing double Ironbark, which, I mean, with the Kael'thas, makes sense as well, and the Mount Seller. Andy Fern, though, with this Malygos Druid, some lists have been running things like the Ironbarks, but it doesn't look like Andy Fern is running the Ironbarks. Instead, she's opted for 2 Anuba South Defenders, 2 Crystal Powers, and she has 2 Teacher's Pets. So those are kind of the slight anti-aggro tools there in her list.
Well, you asked for it, and we got it. Here is the Druid versus the Druid. And I saw a really interesting choice come through with Germination before for the exotic Mount Seller. I actually really like this choice from Revy because the Germination ended up proving to be super impactful, just buying some time and creating some space for the last Druid that we saw.
Yeah, absolutely. Really interesting hand for Revy, though. Kind of feels reactive. Doesn't feel like there's a lot going on. She does have the coin and lightning bloom if she ends up drawing into something that she wants to play out early. But I don't see those right now, so kind of just a hero power pass matchup, which feels a little weird.
For a Druid, maybe, yeah. I especially when you take a look at how fast some of these Druids have gotten out of the gate with some ramp and then guardian animals and things like that. But it's a lightning bloom turn, and Andy Fern is tired of waiting around and just passing and tapping. So here comes Teacher's Pet.
And I really like this play. I think Revy had a very similar choice. She could have also done something like that last turn to put out a beast, but she chose not to. We might see it here, but I think in a way this also speaks to the difference of the decks. Just because Revy might want to save some of those spells for the Mount Seller or to use with the Kael'thas later, but Andy Fern running the Malygos version, you know, a lot of Malygos version games can't actually just be won through tempo and just getting on the board and kind of beating your opponent down and then finishing up with a Malygos and a single spell, or in Alexstrasza to the face with some beasts or some portals, you know, something out on board. So I like that play from Andy Fern, and look at this as well. Going to stick with that plan of keeping on the board and actually heals up the Teacher's Pet.
I really like that decision, especially when you don't have too much else going on for the next couple of turns. Like, you're basically top decking until you can play out this. Oh, actually, you know, you can play Overflow next turn. Oh, that's brilliant. Just get the cards out of your hand now, and then the Overflow gets really impactful.
Yeah. Yep, absolutely. And if Revy doesn't have an easy way to clear this, or if she has to use hero power and trade to clear, that's just more damage that Revy's taking. It is going to get healed back up by the Overflow, though. But if Andy Fern can really get that draw going for herself, that's just that much closer to all of the Malygos pieces that she's looking for.
Yeah. Super, super interesting matchup. It's been a while since I've seen a Malygos Druid, and so I'm just like kind of riveted by what's going on here. Revy actually using hero power to clear out this Teacher's Pet, but it leaves him desert hair.
Yeah, definitely not the Death Rattle beast you're looking to drop out of there.
No.
Yeah, okay, so gonna go for the Lightning Bloom Overflow. You know, you mentioned not having seen much Malygos. I think Malygos has been on the rise, basically ever since the Kalecgos nerf. Kind of Malygos has kind of come back a little bit as more of one of the popular variants of Druid since the since the basically removal from most lists of that Kel'Thas.
That's true. Kel'Thas not getting a chance to be played super often now, which is why it's so interesting that Revy is running Kel'Thas Sunstrider in the deck. But yeah, I'm super interested in seeing how this Malygos functions. We have that Defender now on the board for Andifern, and Revy still has quite a few options here. 2 copies of Animated Broomstick for Revy, and going to use the coin to go ahead and play out one of them.
Yeah, I like this. I think it's completely fine here. Just clear the board. Revy kind of still needs just one more turn before she can kind of go crazy with the Mount Seller. Okay, Andifern finding the second Guardian Animals.
Job's done.
Second Teacher's Pet in hand, though. So, still has the 2 Twilight Runners left in the deck to pull from the Guardian Animals. Oh. Revy finding that ramp makes the turn, the next couple of turns, I feel like, pretty good.
Yeah. You can just discount the Bog Beam.
Yeah.
2 Twilight Runners now getting drawn for Andifern. I'm gonna leave her with a pretty full hand.
Yeah.
But has the Ysera to get those portals out next turn. Yeah, Mount Seller turn though for Revy. That's the big one.
Only the finest creatures.
Can Lightning Bloom out this Germination?
Yeah, there's a lot of spells that can go off this turn.
I supply only the finest creatures.
Oof.
Yeah, and this is why the Germination ends up being such a good pickup from the Nature Studies, because you get a second copy of the Mount Seller, and with all of your discounted spells from being at that 9 mana range, it works out really nicely to be able to build a huge board.
Yeah, and it's interesting because some of the Druid lists are already running one copy of Germination. Revy's list is not. So finding that early, I mean, that's just extra value that the deck kind of already is fine running.
Yeah, you talk about that one copy of the Germination, and Andifern is actually running one copy of it as well. You can see that it's sitting in hand. This looks like a great swipe turn, but it doesn't deal with your exotic Mount Seller problem.
No. Yeah, the issue here for Andifern is that she has some of these pieces she's looking for, but now because of the previous turn from Revy, now Andifern, instead of trying to go in on her own game plan, she has to find a way to not die. She needs to live now. Swipe, only answers some of the board.
Sands of time run low.
Just dropping Ysera is not enough.
I like the Ghidra play.
Yeah.
No more niceties.
Swipe can deal with both copies. That was beautifully done by Andifern.
And, we mentioned at the top that Revy is only running that single copy of the Mount Seller. So even though she had 2 on board, one was from that Germination, that is the end of the Mount Sellers. But she hasn't found Kel'Thas or the copies of Survival of the Fittest yet either. So Andifern really kind of needs to get her game plan together pretty quickly before Revy finds those tools, because she kind of had to put a lot into clearing not even the entire board last turn. If Revy gets another board with some big stuff on it, Andifern might be in trouble.
Yeah, you can see those minions that stuck around are going to end up actually working out super well for Revy just to be able to dish out more damage. Put Andifern at 20. Burns in Overgrowth. But at this point, I don't think you need it, so I think that's an okay burn. But now what do? You're sitting at a full hand of 10 cards with a lot of different avenues to build up to your game plan. This could be a Ysera turn, but with the Cobra that's sitting on board, that Ysera, all it's doing is going to be putting in portals. Unless you use some sort of removal.
My dream is your
Wood. She's gonna have to hero power and Moonfire this down. Oh,
yeah.
It's probably her best chance at this point.
the time run low.
Yeah, she hasn't found Omu. Using the Germination on Omu and resetting your mana, playing Maligos, and then a cheap spell to trigger the second Omu spell burst to reset the mana again and play more spells for burst damage is kind of the dream combo play that Andifern is looking for. If she can possibly get the Alexstrasza, to set Revy to 15 as well and do some damage, that's another game plan. Which, at this point, if these portals can come out, then that's where I think that Alexstrasza is going to be really important, is having a few dragons on board, playing the Alexstrasza, and then hitting face. So I really like her play there of just, okay, I haven't found this Omu, I haven't found Maligos, I've had to use some of my other removal, that first swipe's gone, a Moonfire's gone. I think she's looking for these portals to really do some work here. But Revy just keeping the board.
Yeah, and Andifern is not running a copy of Animated Broomstick, so there's no real good way to get the rush except from the Guardian Animals. But Andifern's already at 10.
Yep.
Alright, Dream Portal. What is that going to bring out for us? Okay. Got a Scale Rider.
Okay, Taunt.
Nice. Taunt is always good.
It is not yet your time.
Okay. There might be something here.
There's always the Alexstrasza in hand to be able to put Revy at a manageable life total. Or to heal yourself back up.
How curious.
And that might be what she's looking at here, is deciding if she really has to use the Alexstrasza on herself. But because she just got these big dragons, I really do. I think she is wanting to look ahead and figure out how she can use that Alexstrasza for her own lethal next turn.
I was looking at Germination.
Yeah, I like it. Germination, if she really wants some healing, because if she plays Alexstrasza on herself, she goes to 15. If she really wants to go to 15, she actually has this 5 healing from Crystal Power, so she can go to 15 right now anyways, if she wants that healing. So, I really like that she is setting up her own game plan. We're gonna see if Revy can find an answer, though. Not much in that hand.
No, I mean, even Guardian Animals here, what does that pull out at this point? A lot of beasts have been played already for both sides, that these Guardian Animals are going to be sitting pretty dead hand.
Yep.
I think we already saw one copy of Lake Thresher for Revy. Let's see here. The nature study is making things a little bit awkward in terms of
all of those spells being put into the deck.
Time waits for no one.
Here's the runic cartridge that got picked up. Carvings. Can't read. I don't know why cartridge. I think it's because I have an ink cartridge that my cat has been playing with on my desk this entire time. But more portals. There's the second copy of Overgrowth for Andifern.
Alright, so even with the Alexstrasza, I'm not seeing a lethal here for Andifern because of that teacher's pet that Revi put out.
Mm-hmm.
So without a lethal, now Andifern is looking at, again, how does she manage this board and set up for a lethal next turn? It might just be some more taunt.
Oh, it is another taunt.
Right. I mean, Andifern can also come back and put her own taunts on the board as well.
Yeah, you still have the Mooncat.
Yeah.
And a teacher's pet of her own.
Yeah. And the evasive here, yeah. 7/7 can't be targeted.
Feeble magic, amusing.
I like that. And then get rid of the armor.
Yeah. Even setting Alexstrasza, or using Alexstrasza to set Revi to 15, she does still have to clear the armor off, so just trying to get rid of that this turn. Revi can use the survival? That's not enough, though.
Yeah, that clears off the two skeletal dragons, but...
Yeah, there's a lot of damage on this board.
Yeah. Revi was really hoping at some point to find that Kael'thas Sunstrider, but this is kind of what I was talking about. Having one whole turn dedicated to playing Survival of the Fittest just doesn't feel very good. So Revi going to go ahead and concede the first game to Andifern. So Andifern finding the victory with the Malygos Druid and the Druid Mirror for game number 1. But now we do have to see the Highlander Priest versus Revi's choice of the Druid or the Hunter.
Yeah, so Face Hunter or that same survival Druid that we just saw. You mentioned this before as well. It's Conquest. She's going to have to get a win with both of the decks anyways. She can try to just bring whichever one she feels like has a better chance of getting the win, but she will have to get a win with both of them. So it might not matter which one she brings here, but going to stick with the Druid for Revi, and then Andifern, like you mentioned here, with the Highlander Priest. Good tools already.
I'm looking at that Draconic Studies and the Kronks as well. I'm trying to think about how important Galakrond is in this particular matchup. I think for the long game, it's definitely important.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think it's anything you keep, though. This Mindrender Elusia, though, ooh. If Andifern can play the Mindrender in a turn to be able to steal some of Revi's ramp, or maybe later in the game to play out a card like Guardian Animals, it's gonna be real tricky for Revi to come back from that. And why not pick another Dragon Queen Alexstrasza? You're already Highlander. This seems pretty good.
Yeah, but now there's 2 copies of Dragon Queen Alexstrasza.
But it's only from what's in the deck, so there's not 2 copies in the deck.
Point. Yeah. Well, why not?
Yeah. Talk
Why
about
not?
Value later in the game. That's going to create a lot of value.
Overgrowth. Love to see it for the druid, just to be able to get that healing, the ramp. I'm sorry, my cat is the cutest thing in the world, but is distracting me to no end, trying to take things off of my desk.
Well, speaking of taking things, I talked about that mind render.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of this ramp already coming into play, and will we see Andy Fern want to take things from Revy with the mind render? Is that what's going to happen here? There's not a lot else going on in her hand at the moment. I guess she could just play this Madame Azul now that that came into hand. I think without that, it might have just been the Mind Render, or even just the Tempo Cabal. Right. Okay. So, Speaker Ghidra is pretty interesting with some spells that Andy Fern could play.
Yeah, I don't honestly mind any of these choices. I feel like it's very niche though when you're taking a look at what's a pick, but the Innervate makes a lot of sense just because you could Innervate out a dragon, like I'm looking at the Dragon Queen Alexstrasza again, or just it really helps your game plan.
Yeah, or even just getting an Innervate coin and then playing the Mind Render and switching hands, and then having a little bit more mana to play something out of Revy's hand as well. That there's a lot of potential with that Innervate. But Revy getting on the board with some pretty big minions here.
Yeah.
I don't see a clear answer here. Unfortunately, no Wave of Apathy. No Wave of Apathy would actually, yeah, Wave of Apathy would be great here with this Cabal. There is the potential for coin Innervates into the Galakrond now that that's in hand, but if Andy Fern goes that route, she's really looking for the 1 and 3 to clear the Ghidra. That's just she's staring down so much damage right now.
Yeah, I mean, you have to get rid of the Ghidra, or that's kind of it. Yeah. Especially if Survival of the Fittest comes through in this next turn, since we are on turn number 10. Or we're not even on turn number 10, we're on turn number 5. What is happening this turn?
I mean, that's what happens when the Druid finds all of its ramp.
Yeah. I got baited.
So, yeah, she kind of did have to just go for it. I hope she hit the 1 and 3, but didn't get there.
Not quite. That is a lot of damage that just came through for that Speaker Ghidra.
Yeah. It's almost scary for Andy Fern with this Mind Render because she does not have as much mana to work with as Revy does. If they trade hands, Revy's at 10 mana. So Revy can do whatever she wants with the hand once they switch. And that's just not going to work for Andy Fern right now.
Yeah, there's no good answer either in Revy's hand that Andy Fern would be able to take. I mean, you're looking for something like a taunt. Even this Radiance isn't going to be enough to just get Andy Fern out of lethal range.
No. Go for it, though.
She's gonna try.
She can dump the... Well... She she can. Oh, she's not going to start with the Lightning Bloom. No.
Oh, yeah, that was a speaker. That's just Speaker Ghidra saying hello.
That Speaker Ghidra, she was shouting hello is what happened there. She was just like, I'm here, I'm huge, you can't kill me. And that's it. But that ties up the series now, right? 1-1.
It does. And it leaves Revy with the Face Hunter.
Yeah, here we go. Face Hunter into the Highlander Priest. Oh, Penance and Ooze already for Andy Fern. Pretty good tools.
Yeah, those are definitely tools that you want to be able to hang on to. You know, I even missed the animated broomstick the first time around. It's just been such a good card to include in a lot of decks. Oh, just gonna keep the whole hand. I mean, why not? Yeah. This is pretty stellar. And to the Acidic Swampooze as well, knowing that there are Eaglehorn bows in this Face Hunter deck, that'll be super helpful.
Yeah, and I think even just being able to play that Ooze out early and then get it back with the Raised Dead is perfectly fine as well.
Yeah. Tempo plays.
Yeah.
Adorable Infestation.
Magical.
This is gonna be really great for Andy Fern here. Oh no, but with the taunt, that kind of does mess up the Ooze broomstick plan that I kind of had in mind, but Penance kind of still does the same thing there.
Oh, so many choices. Go to Animal Companion. You could also Dwarven Sharpshooter, but I like the Animal Companion in case you get something like a Leok or a Huffer for more damage. But honestly, seeing the taunts not too bad either, knowing that that really stunts a lot of the plans from Andifern to be able to use this animated broomstick.
Yeah. Does she just go for Ooze Broomstick Raised Dead here? It's that 4/4 kind of.
Yeah,
kind of
do you have to? Otherwise, how do you get through it? And like the longer it stays on the board, the more damage it's doing.
Yeah.
Wave of Apathy is also fine. Very passive play.
Yeah. She really would love to be using that at the same time as Cabal to try to steal something off of the board as well. But, I mean, with the Soul Mirror and Murazond in hand, this hand against aggro is just a little too slow. She kind of just needs to slow down that damage and try to stall for a few more turns. But Revy is not slowing down. She's just dumping everything onto the board here.
Yeah. Now that animated broomstick Ooze Raised Dead place feels so far away.
Yeah. I do just wonder if she had done that last turn, because then she could just repeat it again this turn. I mean, she wouldn't have the Raised Dead, but she could at least kill the second 4/4 this turn. No, not gonna even play the Raised Dead. She doesn't want to take the 3 damage.
Okay, Scavenger's Ingenuity. Ooh, it's the Wolpertinger. It's a pretty good minion to draw.
Yeah. I mean, still a lot of pressure that Andy Fern has to deal with. Saying that, I can do it.
Oh, you can't even coin it out either.
Nope. No. This hand just ended up being way too slow against the aggro deck.
Yeah, we kind of were thinking Revy might struggle a little bit, but not without answers from the priest.
Yeah. And she just has to go for the Raise Dead this turn anyways. Clear off the 4/4, heal herself back up a little bit. It's just still so much damage.
Mm-hmm. Plus the Dragonbane.
It's just lethal with Dragonbane, yeah. That's it. Wow.
What a series, my goodness.
Yeah. So, whew.
Well, that's kind of what you expect from week number 9, and after seeing all of these amazing players throughout these 9 weeks, it culminates to this. We have a grand finals between Revy and Edelweiss, and I'm so excited about this matchup.
Yeah, it's gonna be good. And can you remind our audience, Necro, one more time, where are each of the players, Edelweiss and Revy, sitting in kind of the point standings? We pretty much already have our top 8 solidified now for the championship in October, but where have these players kind of been sitting at point-wise?
Revy has a 450 points and is our first seed at the moment. And Edelweiss is in 4th with 350. 100-point deficit, and that's because Revy has 2 week wins plus a 2nd place under her belt. That's a lot. Revy's definitely been a favorite in this tournament so far, but Edelweiss not too far behind and is going to make up a lot of that deficit with at least 75 points from this week number 9.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've mentioned it already, but anybody who might be joining us tonight as well, the past 8 weeks, these players have purely been playing 4 points to accumulate over the 9 weeks for the championship. But in this final 9-week tournament for tonight, first place also snags $250. So there's even more on the line. And I don't know. I feel like Edelweiss is hungry for that right now. She wants to get the points. You know, she's solidified for that top 8, but she wants that cash prize as well.
Yeah, I feel like Revy probably is hungry for it too. Not only would Revy get the $250, but a 3rd week win. I mean, that's phenomenal. Edelweiss is definitely looking for that 2nd week win under her belt, but we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, get into the grand finals action for week number 9 of the Supergirl Gamer Pro. Don't go anywhere.
It's not just the ships, the armor, or the aircraft. It's something more. It's the will to fight and determination to win, found inside each and every Marine that answers a nation's call. Battles won.
So I'm gonna hold on promoting you this quarter. Cool?
Drop the taco. Get in the car. Does this Sentra feel like a compromise to you?
Wait, what?
The handling is good, right? No compromise there.
Nope. Watch this.
Rear automatic braking. So if this Nissan Sentra isn't going to compromise, why should you?
You're right.
Atta girl.
The all-new Nissan Sentra, with more standard safety features than any other car in its class.
Welcome back to the Supergirl Gamer Pro Hearthstone broadcast. This is week number 9, the end of it all. At the end of the evening, we will have a winner of this week who will go home with $250. And we will also know our top 8 players for the Grand Championships for Hearthstone, October 2nd in our online Grand Championships. It's been your co-casters, Necra and Dragon Rider, for the ride for these last 9 weeks, and we're here with the last match of the night. Let's take a look at that bracket and show you exactly what's coming up.
Look at this. This is where we have come from tonight. We saw a lot of Hearthstone tonight, but it has all led to this. Our grand finals for tonight, Revy versus Edelweiss. You can kind of see the opponents that they faced along the way to get there. You talked about Revy is our current point leader, Edelweiss currently 4th. That is all before tonight. Both of these players, I mean, at this point, the points don't even matter. It's just, they're just there. At this point, it has come down to going for that $250 tonight and kind of just the bragging rights and just, that gloat maybe that they can go, I won the final week for the money, the prizes. And how many times has Revy already won over the last 8 weeks before tonight?
2 times. So looking for the 3rd week win, and Edelweiss is looking for her 2nd week win. Week number 1, by the way. So had a very, very strong showing for our first couple of weeks, and is looking to just kind of put that bookend on everything and put that icing on the cake for both of these players. I'm so excited about this matchup. Dawn, for those viewers that are tuning in for maybe the first time tonight for our grand finals, what are the deck lists that are getting run for both of these players?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's talk about that real quick. I also want to mention, for anybody that hasn't been here before, if you haven't watched or you might not be up to speed with what's going on, this is a conquest format, best of 3. So each player bringing 3 decks, banning one of the opponent's lists, and then having to get a win with each of the other 2 decks that are not banned. So for Revy, bringing Face Hunter, Paladin, the kind of all Paladin Libram deck, and Druid with the Kael'thas and double Survival of the Fittest, and then Edelweiss on Face Hunter as well with the kind of aggro warrior and the stealth rogue with 1 copy of Skydiving Instructor, which I think is just fascinating. Yeah, I really like these decks. Both of them brought Face Hunter, but the other 2 completely different. So even with 1 or 2 of the decks that we've been seeing from these players tonight, they've still come up with such different lineups. And I just think that kind of speaks to the diversity that we have in the meta right now. It's amazing to see. It feels so good.
Yeah, we've had a couple of matchups where there have been 6 different archetypes all across the board for both of the lineups, 6 different classes being represented, and now we have 5 in our grand finals for week number 9 that are going to be represented in the grand finals. And it's just been so amazing these last 9 weeks, getting a chance to see how these players have adjusted and adapted their strategies over the course of the season. we've dealt with the end of an expansion, nerfs coming through, Scholomance Academy, and more nerfs coming through. It's been a whole slew of trials and tribulations for these players. But we will have our final 8 at the end of the night, as well as a winner for week number 9 with that $250 cash prize. Don, I have to go back a little bit and thank some of our sponsors for this week, or even not even just this week, but this entire series. We've had some incredible sponsors that have come through to make sure that the Supergirl Gamer Pro is even possible, and it would be so remiss to not thank them all. Thank you so much to Zenny Gaming, to Nissan, to the U.S. Air Force, to Power Crunch, to GameStop, the U.S. Marine Corps, and we also have some new sponsors as well that I'd like to mention, and one of those sponsors is the Gamehers. Been mentioning the Gamehers a little bit throughout the broadcast, but one of the most important parts about the Gamehers is that they are for all women, for marginalized genders, and non-binary humans, and they're a safe place for players to game and to feel like their voices can be heard. You can find them on Discord, Twitter, Twitch, Instagram, and YouTube, all at the handle The Gamehers. That is The Game HERS. So go ahead and check them out. They're a wonderful community, and their mission and vision align so well with what the Supergirl Gamer Pro is trying to do.
Yeah, it really is. And, kind of speaking off of that, let's transition and talk about the mission of these players here in these finals. Bans have come through. Revy has had her Paladin band, and Edelweiss has had the Warrior band. So both players will be bringing their Face Hunters, and then Revy on the Druid, and Edelweiss with the Stealth Rogue. I do want to talk quickly about the difference in the Face Hunter lists, especially with these secrets. So each of them are running 1 copy of Explosive, 1 copy of Freezing Trap, and then here's the difference. Edelweiss running 1 copy of Pack Tactics, but Revy bringing 1 copy of Pressure Plates. So slightly different there. And then something that's not as common, I feel like, in Face Hunter, which it used to be, but it's less common now. Revy is bringing a single copy of Unleash the Hounds. Edelweiss does not have an Unleash the Hounds in the list, but pretty interesting there. I like it.
I really like the inclusion of Unleash the Hounds as well. It synergizes super well with Kill Command, especially if you're taking a look, kind of trying to deal the final blow to your opponent, and especially if you're going to be in this kind of face mirror situation where both of you are probably trying to develop wide boards. The Unleash the Hounds ends up working really well to be able to clean up some of those boards that might be coming out from Edelweiss's side. But we also have the Druid for Revy and the Rogue for Edelweiss. And I feel like that matchup is really, really interesting because it could really go either way.
Yeah, it really can. And I think we've kind of seen that effect throughout tonight already. It almost seems like, okay, we've talked about if Rogue can get that aggressive start, can get out on the board, put all that pressure. Well, that's great if that can happen, but it doesn't always happen. And we actually even already saw that tonight as well with the Rogue kind of faltering. So Edelweiss here starting with the Rogue, Revy on the Hunter for the first game. Now, if Edelweiss wins here against the Hunter, she won't be even taking the Rogue into the Druid.
Yeah, that is an interesting predicament to be in. And I'm also kind of taking a look at the fast start that both of these players are going to be able to have. But I feel like there's a lot of synergy for Edelweiss right now, able to play out this Worgen Infiltrator, and then you have the Greyheart Sage that you could coin out on turn number 2.
Yeah.
Or just go for the weapon right now. That works.
I wonder.
I mean, I guess it ends up being the same effect. She gets the weapon out now. She gets to clear the board. And then next turn, she has the potential to drop the Worgen and also get more value out of the South Sea Deckhand. And then she can still drop the Greyheart Sage on 3, kind of on curve.
Ooh, but the explosive trap might set things back a little bit for Edelweiss.
Yeah, really could.
See whether or not it gets played out. I feel like early game, it's really impactful, just because you do have a lot of very low cost, low health minions that get played. But no, that's not going to be the case.
Yeah. And on Revi's side though, that hand is just not what she's looking for. She has no minions. She really needs to get some minions going. I mean, even just to use half of the cards in her hand, she has to have something on board.
Yeah.
And as an aggressive deck, that is really detrimental. She's not probably happy about that. Yeah, but Edelweiss getting to use that coin early to get the dagger, which, you hear some players talk about coin into a hero power feels pretty awkward, but in this case, it probably was the right play, and it's actually working out, I think, even better for Edelweiss than she anticipated.
Yeah, I would absolutely agree with that. Being able to deny all of this synergy from Revi, I think, is really important. But okay, gonna go ahead and say, just use the Adorable Infestation on the South Sea deckhand. Do you play? I think you have to play the Greyheart Sage first, get the value, and then test the secret.
Yeah, I think you definitely do.
Awaits you in the ashes.
Another Sinister Strike. She doesn't even attack, doesn't want to trigger the secret yet. She might be looking to actually just take advantage of the second Greyheart Sage in hand.
Yeah. May as well.
Get the draw while she can.
To my side.
Yeah. Alright. Her trading, not hitting face.
Oh, that doesn't feel super good as the face hunter. But I feel like that also kind of gives Edelweiss some information. Just knowing that, okay, you used an Adorable Infestation, you're expecting that the South Sea deckhand's gonna get removed somehow. I think that does say a lot about what the secret is.
Yeah.
But here's the value from the Greyheart Sage.
Yeah. I like it a lot. There's no other stealth really in hand. No other draw potential with Secret Passage. And now this also allows different testing. Because there was a minion on board, Edelweiss can now test if it's the freezing trap. Or, it just kind of figure out her game plan from there. But it was not the freezing. So now she kind of has it down to, is it the pressure plate or explosive?
Yeah, we also know it's not going to be the pack tactics either.
Yep. And actually playing out that Sinister Strike at the end of last turn.
Oh yeah, that plays
also let her know
around.
it wasn't pressure. Yeah. So Edelweiss knows exactly what the secret is now, and Revi knows that Edelweiss knows. So all the mind games just being played right now, and Revi finally kind of getting a little bit more in hand that now she can work with and get on board here. Going to be able to get some draws from the Voracious Reader.
Yeah. But I feel like this has been so smart. Now that Revi has kind of just put down the board, Edelweiss has so many ways to answer it. Not sending this damage face. I mean, now you can use all of these minions to clear, knowing that it is going to be that explosive trap.
Yeah. And this Ash Tongue Slayer could get some really sweet value here because it creates, it would die itself, but it also lets a lot more damage go through. I guess it's just a matter of how Edelweiss wants to push the damage this turn. She could just go for the weapons. Weapon, deadly poison, and the other Sinister Strike. Just really go in on the base damage here.
Pop the yeah, I like popping the trap now.
To get rid of the Voracious Reader.
Yeah, that's what the Scimitar is for sure. And then you play out the Sneaky Delinquent. That, yeah, great ordering by Edelweiss.
Yeah, I like this a lot too because it puts her in a position where, looking at the hand size, I mean, Revy kind of lost her draw engine, but, you know, Edelweiss did play the double Sages earlier for the draw, but there's still secret passages as well in the deck. She has a lot more draw to go still, and Revy doesn't really have much more draw, so Revy is now at a point where she's kind of getting close to just top deck mode, essentially. And as an aggro deck, when you get to that point where you are just top decking, it's kind of a bad spot, especially with Edelweiss still being at 20 life.
Gotta test for a new secret now.
Yeah. I mean, it's open deck list. These players know what the other players are running. And one secret has already been used, so it's just a matter of if it's pressure plate or freezing.
Still could be pack tactics.
Well, Revy is running the pressure plate, and Edelweiss is running the pack tactics in her list. Oh no, there is a pack tactic. There's actually 4 secrets in Revy's deck. Oh, wait a second. Oh my goodness.
That makes things much more complicated.
Yeah. Oh.
And it looks like it is pressure plate.
Okay, yeah. Wow.
But nice, clear,
oh my gosh.
Coming through.
Yeah, look at all of the damage potential from Edelweiss just sitting in hand waiting too.
Yeah, the Sinister Strike, and then you have the Eviscerate plus the Deadly Poison. If Revy doesn't find an answer to this, even if she finds an answer, that's game. She needs a taunt.
Yeah. Okay, the pack tactics here. Oof.
Well, I think you can just go ahead and send it face. You know, all of this spell damage is going to be enough. So here comes the Sinister Strike, the Eviscerate. And the Dagger plus the Deadly Poison. Oh my goodness.
So even with the secrets, it just was not enough for Revy to get through. So Edelweiss taking the first game with the Rogue. Oh. Wow.
Yeah, and she dodged, I feel like, the matchup she wanted to, which was the Rogue into the Druid. Since that one is definitely a little bit iffy on whether or not the Rogue can take it. I feel like Edelweiss now can just get a fast start with the Face Hunter and take the match point.
Yeah, and I mean, Revy can still stay on her Face Hunter. She can switch to the Druid. Also, Edelweiss running double Imprisoned Felma with the Face Hunter here, which can actually be pretty good against the Druid, especially if she can find them early.
Ooh, but we see Hunter versus Hunter.
Right.
And,
might be the aggro matchup to end them all if Edelweiss takes it.
Yeah, we've seen quite a few deck lineups include this Face Hunter, and definitely seen a lot more of Face Hunter kind of just being popular with these Conquest lineups. Having neither of them banned out means that this was a possibility. So these first couple of turns going to matter a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. The first few turns, really in any aggro deck, but especially in the aggro mirrors, are very, very important, like you said. The coin here for Edelweiss, though, can create a lot of tempo.
Yeah, well, especially with the synergy from the Dwarven Sharpshooter and the Phase Stalker. Plus, you just reduced your hero power to 0 cost on the first turn.
Yeah.
But synergy for Revi as well, Adorable Infestation to be able to buff up this Dwarven Sharpshooter, and the Demon Companion also going to be able to buff it up further. Makes for a very sticky board that Edelweiss is going to have to try to find a way around.
Alright. Yeah, takes advantage of this 0 cost hero power here. It's like you said, able to actually squeeze in all of this, which this is just so much value here. Gets a secret, gets 2 bodies on the board, clears a minion on Revi's side.
And now Revi has to play the mind games of this freezing trap.
Ooh. Well, she can test with a weapon first to see if it's pack tactics.
Okay, gonna test with the Cub.
Yeah.
So it
Alright,
pops
finds
the
out it's
freezing trap.
freezing. Yeah. I like this. Clear out that Phase Stalker. Do not let Edelweiss pull out another secret from the deck.
Alright. Like the ordering of Demon Companion first, just to be able to see whether you find maybe Rush or Charge. Maybe a Taunt. So, value trade with the Dwarven Sharpshooter.
And now we can see, for Revi though, this is her chance to play the Phase Stalker into hero power. Pull out a secret. And she can even hold the weapon if she wants to now, because of the secret here. Try to extend the life on that weapon. Alright, freezing.
Yuck. Use the power of the Dwarven Sharpshooter. Finds out that it's freezing.
I like this a lot. She's gonna play the Thelma.
Job's done.
She wanted to get a value trade, play the Infestation there, but I like just setting up this Thelma because she knows it's gonna take 2 turns to wake up anyways. So might as well kind of get this on board and see what Revi has.
Let me work my magic.
No spells to trigger that Intrepid.
Oh, do you just, yeah, you just kind of play out your hand here. It's more difficult for that Thelma to find its mark. I like just pushing more damage, I think, than trying to get out the 3-cost Cub.
Nothing but a bunch of big bears!
You here for the tour?
Yeah. Wow.
Job's done.
Gonna just basically squeeze in as much as she can here. Kind of goes wide herself. Oh, both players have Dragonbane now, but Revi has the mana to make it worthwhile.
Yeah.
Ooh. Do you think it actually works out better for Edelweiss if Revi goes for the Dragonbane here?
I think it does, because having the kill command as an answer and a Cub in
Yeah.
hand to be able to pop the kill command, I think you just you set yourself up for a position where your Dragonbane can't get touched.
Yeah.
But it is a lot of damage going to Edelweiss's face if it is Dragonbane and Hero Power that comes down here.
That's true. Although removing her own board now sets this up for this Velma to wake up and get a value trade right into their Dragonbane. Which, if that happens, Edelweiss doesn't even need to use the kill command.
Yeah.
And... oh, it hits face.
face.
Alright. Oh my gosh. Well,
Do you go for the safe play or do you go for the 50-50? That's kind of the trouble of it, and I feel like you can't leave the Dragonbane if you're sitting at 14 health.
yeah. I think she can go for
Victory.
just using the kill command.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, she can drop the Cub, use the kill command, play the other
And-
Felma now if she wants to.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then, I mean, she's already seen Revy use one weapon, and now this Dragonbane is gone. Basically, Revy will have to have her own kill commands to start answering these things on Edelweiss's board.
And as the face hunter, you always want those kill commands to try to go face, but I like the Cub kill command play. Gets rid of the Dragonbane very easily, and then play out the Felmaw, and then you have next turn to do something here. Oh,
Yeah.
but the Voracious Reader for Revy should be able to refresh the hand quite a bit.
You have to read this one.
Keeps pushing all this damage face.
Ugh, I mean, she's gotten Edelweiss below 10 now. So like you said, it just there's the kill command.
Yeah.
She could actually have her own lethal next turn here. Okay. What is left in the deck for Edelweiss here? Oh. And Revy also running, we talked about it, the one copy of Unleash the Hounds.
Mm-hmm.
That could be another potential extra damage, a potential out.
Yeah, there's enough though. Even should be able to play out the hero power plus the weapon as well as the animal companion for a beast, and then get the 5 damage from the kill command. So I don't think Edelweiss can do anything here to save herself.
No. We see this trade in. I think that trade Edelweiss is trying to keep in mind that Unleash the Hound.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, this is just so much damage.
That's exact. Yeah. Here comes the damage, and here comes lethal. Gonna be able to tie it up, and now Edelweiss left with the face hunter, Revy with the survival of the fittest druid. Well, I mean, it's coming down to the wire here for our grand finals. What more could you expect coming from the Supergirl Gamer Pro?
Yes, I'm glad that we have gone to the final game in the series. Those are always the most exciting, I feel like, instead of just a clean sweep. But this, I don't know. This is going to be an interesting one. I feel like it's kind of been the story tonight with these aggro decks versus some of these slower decks. If Edelweiss can get a really aggressive fast start that Revy can't really answer, it's definitely looking like an Edelweiss win from there. But if Edelweiss can't find enough draw or find enough damage to squeeze past some of these tools that Druid has, it feels like it's leaning more Druid favored for me at that point.
Yeah, well, especially if the Druid gets ramp.
Yeah. I mean, double Ironbark, Ghidra, double Lake Threshers as well, double Teacher's Pet in here for Revy.
Yeah, there's a lot of these. This is also the Druid deck list tonight that only has one copy of the Exotic Mountseller and the Kael'thas Sunstrider. You can see the Mountseller is already in hand. Very, very bulky hand for Revy to kick things off. Oh no. Gets a second Twilight Runner as well.
Yeah, pretty clunky. Yeah, here's the coin Thelma. Like I mentioned, especially early, and I mean, in this situation as well, these Felmas are just so good against Druid.
Mm-hmm.
And being at the 4 health, even if Revy can manage to ramp to that 7 and find Bog Beams, that's not even enough to clear on its own.
Yeah. Doesn't surprise me at all that Edelweiss is going to go ahead and just coin out both of the imprisoned Felmas.
Oh, yeah. No. Yeah, you see that and you just do it.
Yeah. Oh, Wild Growth here might be helpful, but...
Yeah.
At the same... Yeah, I was going to say, there's some choices to be made there, but I think the ramp is definitely something that you're looking for.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, if Revy can top deck a Lightning Bloom here, she can at least go into Lightning Bloom Guardian Animals to kind of try to stick something.
Yeah, but at this point, you have double Teacher's Pets, and you have one Lake Thresher that's left in the deck.
Yep.
A lot of those guardian animals in hand already.
Look at this. Edelweiss just dumping everything here. She saw ramp being played that was found from nature studies. That's kind of a clear sign that Revy's hand is not shaping up the way that she wants it to.
Well, especially with the animal companion in hand, you're getting a spell burst for both of these minions. Oh, but what does Revy do here? Is it more important to have the board or to get the ramp? Going for the ramp.
I mean, it's so much damage from Edelweiss. I think she has to go for the ramp and just hope that, just know she's going to take damage this turn. And just hope it's enough to stall for...
Oh, it's Huffer!
One more turn. Oh my gosh, so much damage. Well, this is exactly that aggressive fast start that we've been mentioning all night.
100%. Revy's at 5 health right now. What is she gonna be able to do? There's an animated broomstick.
That's not even enough, I don't think.
Oh, she could get doubles Teacher's Pet here.
She could.
Oh, Lake Thresher though.
Yeah. I think also from Edelweiss, it might not matter at this point, but I would have liked to see her place the 1-3 in between those two Felmas. But it might not matter for the placement. Then the Thresher just hits the 1-3, but man, this has been...
Wow, what a series. What a week. What a season this has been.
Wow. And I mean, hero power and a weapon in hand, that's gonna do it. Wow, that might have even been our fastest game night.
I believe it takes the cake. I think Edelweiss just speed ran her way through the Week 9 championships right here. Even though this was a 2-1 scoreline, that third game was so fast. And congratulations to Edelweiss, not only securing her second first place finish in these 9 weeks of Hearthstone that we've had for the Supergirl Gamer Pro, but she's also taking home $250.
Yeah, absolutely. And, even though Edelweiss did win this final week, she takes home that money. Man, Revy has just been amazing, not only tonight, but throughout all of these 9 weeks. It has been amazing watching all of these players get to play. And some of the games we've had over these 9 weeks have just been like mind-blowing. I feel like it's been so much fun watching all of these games pan out. But wow, some really great play.
Great play this week, great play over the whole course of the season, and we couldn't have done it without our amazing sponsors for the Supergirl Gamer Pro. I just want to say a huge thank you to all of them: Zenny Gaming, Nissan, U.S. Air Force, U.S. Marine Corps, GameStop, Power Crunch, GameHers, all coming in so clutch for these 9 weeks of the Supergirl Gamer Pro. And even being able to have a prize tonight is amazing for just to kind of cap off that final week number 9. Dragon Rider, it's been such a series, such a season.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I just want to mention a couple other things as well. Thank you to not only our sponsors, but also to our production team and everybody behind the scenes.
Yes.
Nekra, you and I can sit here and we can talk about the game, but everybody on the production team and the tournament organizers, they're the ones that have been putting all of this together and trying to make us look and sound good. So thank you to them and all of the hard work that they've been doing. And, all of us, we still have one more big show to do, and that is the championship. Now, all these 9 weeks that we've been doing so far for Hearthstone have been on Sunday nights, but the championship, like you mentioned, October 2nd is actually the Friday night. So if you've been watching and you want to watch that championship, please make sure that you mention or, keep in mind, mark your calendar. It's Friday night for the championship for Hearthstone, not on the Sunday. The championship is going to be so great. I'm so excited. It's going to be a best of 5.
Yeah, so we have a little bit of a format change going into the Grand Championships. All of this entire season, these last 9 weeks have been a best of 3 conquest, but we're moving to best of 5 conquest in our single elimination top 8 bracket. And I want to congratulate all 8 players that have made it, because we don't know final standings because points haven't been tallied just yet. In no particular order, please join me in congratulating Revi, Nysil, Linthesis, Edelweiss, Malira, Andafern, Trojanator, and Valera Light for making it to our Grand Championships on October 2nd. The gameplay has been out of this world, and I'm so excited for the Grand Championships on October 2nd.
Me too. It is going to be amazing, and that gives these players some time. We do have, we've talked a couple of times tonight about the fact that over these 9 weeks, these players have gone through some nerfs. They went through a new set coming out. Well, there's even more nerfs that are coming next week. And who knows, by October 2nd, maybe there's even more nerfs that happen between then as well. So
who knows?
Lots of time for them to work through those and come up with their 4-deck lineups going into that championship. But this has been so amazing, and I am super excited to see how the championships play out.
Want to give a huge shout out to Supergirl Gamer Pro for even giving us a platform to celebrate these amazing women gamers, and also giving us a chance to have our voices be heard on the commentary desk. It's been such a phenomenal season, and I can't believe that it's all over. It's so bittersweet, but for Supergirl Gamer Pro, for those of you that don't know, Supergirl Gamer Pro is a competitive video game series dedicated to supporting women in gaming. So we've been doing that for these past 9 weeks for 3 different titles: CSGO, League of Legends, and of course Hearthstone. And the fact that this initiative was launched in 2017 and is still going to this day because of our amazing sponsors is amazing. So thank you so much for giving us that platform to have our voices be heard and to play some amazing games. It's been 9 weeks. It's been Dragon Rider and Nekra here for your journey through these 9 weeks, but that's it from us tonight. Dragon Rider, do you have any final thoughts before we close the broadcast?
Man, thank you again to all the sponsors. Thank you to the production team and everybody working behind the scenes to make each week go as smoothly as possible. Thank you for the players, and thank you for everybody that has tuned in each week or has kind of retweeted, gotten the word out, and kind of made this such an amazing, impactful event that I feel like is really making waves. So thank you, everybody, for all of the work that you've put in. And thank you, Nekra, for being such an amazing co-caster. It has been a pleasure casting with you the last 9 weeks, and we still have the championship.
Well, likewise, Dragon Rider. It's been such a treat and such a pleasure to be able to cast with you these last 9 weeks. Thank you again to everybody that is tuning in to the broadcast. And if you want to know more about the Supergirl Gamer Pro, its mission, its vision, and seeing where all players are lined up in their top 8 standings, then go to the website, www.supergirlgamerpro.com, and also follow us on socials, Facebook and Twitter at SGGamerPro. You can also join our Discord and get a chance to chat with all of the amazing people that make this possible. And also find your friends and find your teammates for the next time we get a chance to do this series. But going to be it from us tonight and for the season. Thank you so much for tuning in. Hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day.
I'm gonna hold on promoting you this quarter. Cool?
Drop the taco. Get in the car. Does this Sentra feel like a compromise to you?
Wait, what?
The handling is good, right? No compromise there.
Nope. Watch this.
Rear automatic braking. So if this Nissan Sentra isn't gonna compromise, why should you? You're right! Atta girl.
The all-new Nissan Sentra with more standard safety features than any other car in its class.
It's not just the ships, the armor, or the aircraft. It's something more. It's the will to fight and determination to win, found inside each and every Marine that answers a nation's call. Battles won.
You can trade all the games, accessories, consoles, and tech you don't use anymore to get cash or store credit at GameStop. Check out the Trade Center on the GameStop app, visit GameStop.com/trade, or talk to a guest advisor at your local GameStop store to see how much your trades are worth.